show everything that they have in the back.
Very much all in by EDG. Timeout has to be taken to convert at least this round.
And on the attack side, you need Smoggy to start getting involved as well. He's been one of, if not the most impactful player for EDG in their run at champs. He's absent right now.
Oh my goodness, okay, Kang. Fast play, zips his way past there. Zekken's going to be revealed up as well, but has to respect most of this one. Sassy, trying to play with the drone that was used prior, gets the tag onto the one, but push back and away. But a player dropped on the side of Sentinels. This is the opening that EDG praying for.
Kangkang's delivered them another one.
Zekken going for that re-exploration, looking for the info. Simon's tucked, only the shoulder. Smoggy's there to supplement as well. Help him. Ow! What is that movement? Zekken just counters it, Simon! It's an absolute worldie with that shot right there. And the reload bullet sprayed down to the bitter end. Simon, quick to capitalize.
Incredible shooting to get EDG back into things there. Tenz is going to all of these rotates.
Footsteps.
He might be able to cut somebody off as well. Nobody was thinking about going through the garage. That would have been a death sentence. Tenz is right here behind them though. If EDG pause for a moment, he's going to have the backstab.
Yep. Smoke at C is going to be fading. They are not going to anticipate this. He is so quick right there behind them. In a 2v3, and it will be dissipating. Opens him up, Simon! He's still there though. This guy's been a savior for EDG in so many moments. The util just narrowly avoided. To the fault line, John QT still here. But enough has been done surely for EDG, and they know it. Doubled up high-low. Simon taking that point. 4-piece in the end. That's what EDG needed.
Somebody else to come in and clean up what Kangkang delivers you with his opening duels and his entrying. How does he get that at all? Celsius should have been way behind the corner there. These shots, it's absurd what Simon's putting together, especially when he's stunned up in the corner. Nice idea from Sentinels, but Simon rips it away. I was talking about Smoggy stepping up, but it's a newcomer that delivers that difference-making round.
Yeah, and over the course of the tournament, Simon has just been impressing over and over again.
Yeah.
Heavy stack from SEN. Misses. Zekken gets onto the line of sight, but feels like a bit of uncertainty. Can't really take the fight that he wanted to here. The drone from nobody should be clearing potentially. Might just be fading. In fact, it is. So doesn't clear into the corner. Hunter's Fury to push them back and away. One tag. Plenty more players where that came from, and it does soften up a few of them. So EDG feeling a bit weakened, but not deterred away from A.
They've also seen Simon's ripping it on the fake.
He's going for a fake here, just very much alone, just trying to cut that noise. The Hunter's Fury as well to try and sell this one. Players trying to be pulled back. Sassy though, he realizes it. There's no follow-up off the back of it, doesn't hear any footsteps, so Sentinels just contain that. Bring it down into the 4v4, slow it all the way down, realizing that they've lost control, but so is Kangkang. Losing track of where these players could potentially be. John QT puts him in his place and spraying him down through the cage. All revealed with the neural theft. It's gone tipsy-turvy. EDG. What should have been a great opener, they've overthunk, I think, into the round itself. Teacher's low, great movement. Slightly ajar, just making it so damn uncomfortable for these EDG players to stand their ground and take these fights. Sentinels up to 11.
Didn't really like the fake attempt there. I think it's far too obvious what EDG pulled out in that round. They're sending double ults, but there's nobody scaling off of it. There's no standard util at the beginning, like recon flashes, that kind of stuff. And on top of that, the rest of EDG weren't even set up to hit a site immediately. They were still making that migration over towards the C site. They weren't already in position to capitalize on the timing. SEN cleaned that up a bit too easily there. EDG's eco is... It's weird looking. I don't know if they're trying to half buy or if they're trying to force it. What's Smoggy doing?
It's all over the place. It's bargain bin buy, but they're not on the same page with this one. Another fault line to set this up. Early angles from Kangkang, but he's revealed up. No one deals with that dart. The bolt and the stun just not quite connecting. Still, they want to square him, Simon! God, he's a miracle worker. Survives on barely a shred of health. As low as you can go. Cut noise now, go for the rest of the hit, but he has opened this site up now. In and away, John QT. Spraying in through the smoke as well. The slightest of reveals, and the bullets just not quite landing onto Kangkang, but potentially done enough here. Played Sassy in through, onto the flank, right through the wall. Lands it to the dome. Kangkang's being dropped now. 3 versus 3. Sentinels Still make a go of things here, EDG. Trying to make that play. Good trade by TenZ once more, but a smoke dropped down. Now with a paranoia, all added on top. Leaving it just down to TenZ, and he's doing damage right through the wall. Isolates the one for bullet! Oh boy! TenZ! He just will not be stopped.
What a beast! What an incredible player! He's having a monstrous tournament. He has been performing at outrageous levels. The game against Gen G, his impact today, 21 kills across 18 rounds. And he's just saved them after Simon should have opened the door and made that one unlosable for EDG.
One enemy remaining.
Isolating the angles perfectly, swinging back out. And Smoggy just cannot find a kill today. Another 1v1 kind of clutch situation that he can't win.
Almost every clutch going away SN, almost every single round off the back of that.
He also didn't have armor, by the way, Smoggy, to begin that round. Maybe that could have made a difference.
For EDG now, frantic attempt. It's a tap. Try and pull somebody util out as well. Fake the presence. Second. What? The cage helps him.
How's he getting away?
That's ridiculous. Glides himself back as well. And back and forth we go. It's EDG scrambling for a chance to get back into this. Second, he's still alive. Overdrive in his hands, and he wants more. Never bite of the apple. But discipline is called for in moments like this, and they tempered around down at that minute mark. Celsius, flash, re-exploration, re-clearing, double held though, and that is Sentinels getting ahead of themselves.
It is good information, however, for Sassy to start pushing out. Could he be the playmaker here?
Odin.
EDG are quite trapped. They don't quite know where everybody is. In fact, they don't know where anybody is.
Full map control lost. Sassy, Smoggy. He's watching for that peek. The slow walk around the corner.
Finally comes alive in this map.
30 seconds left.
It's down to Celsius, 1v3, spam. Through into the smoke. Plan down from Simon, but the smoke was watched the entire time. And Smoggy's turn to really come alive. It's 4 kills from him in the round.
They need that from Smoggy. He's been utterly crucial for them in terms of accessing their full potential.
Almost doubled his kills.
Second's movement, though, is absolutely world-class. And he's only played, what is this, his 3rd map playing Neon?
This year?
This year.
Yeah.
With new Neon as well. I mean, all of the stuff he did years ago playing Neon is it's not all that relevant anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a prodigy, I think, when it comes to, I mean, I'm sure he's played Neon before, obviously, but same setup being used by EDG. Got to claw back these rounds one step at a time. Sassy, jump spot, gets that acknowledgement.
And at no point can EDG make a mistake. One error, like Chishu walking in here, and it could all be over!
Oh, no! Chishu dropped. The flank opened up. And Sentinels, they know that they can play this one nice and safe.
Look at the retake cap. Broken. Nice awareness.
Yeah, shock dart has to be used to make sure to get rid of that one, though, but he planned down. Extension into the round, but this is it. This is where EDG make their stand. See if they can stay alive into this map.
You need good defensive utility here from the post planners. Paranoia, Aftershock has to be used to keep them back.
It's going to be used. Eye for an eye when it comes to the util. Aftershock even down into hell. Sentinels are being kept out of the fight. Kang will ensure that they don't step past it. Nobody right there with him. The feed is filled up, all with red. And Hunting chasing. John QT fully blinded. Kang empowered. EDG are still in this fight.
Lovely post-plan situation play there from EDG. That's such a critical round for them to get. Those 2 in a row from EDG have now knocked the economy to SEN.
Enemy remaining.
Which is the first time, apart from, you know, follow-ups from pistols or whatever. So those chances, 6 of them, narrowed down to 4.
with no room for error. These players have been in similar spots before. They know you have to take it one round at a time. For Sentinels, economy dropped all the way down. You can see it just from the two sheriffs that are being worked with.
Do they have a eco round strategy to work with here? Yeah, it's another one of those smokes that goes inside a wall. But the idea being you can dodge the recon dart, and Zekken can swing out from an unexpected position. He's also playing anti-flash in that spot as well, right? If Simon did go for that flash through bricks. But EDG not going to send with any pace on the anti-eco. And they have been playing these kind of rounds really slowly, very cautiously.
Which does potentially open themselves up to mistakes being made. Sentinels are going for the full migration.
John's heard the drone.
The attempt to pull some players away, at least nobody, they're seeing no signs of life. You feel so worried into this spot if you are EDG. Potentially even committing. I mean, full bodies, players making their way over towards the seaside. Guess what? Sentinels are ready to meet them. See if the weaponry does make that difference here with a stuns. Util offloaded into the corner. Kang just can't really hold it down with a steady ground, but still, as those smokes fade away, overdrive! Kang! It's galvanizing. An electric performance from him, still adjusting tens. Difficult shot for him to hit. Sheriff in hand, 4-piece, hunting down the remaining player. John QT quaking in his boots, but he will not give up that ace.
I love the determination with which Kang hunted for that one too. It would have been far better for Simon to pick up the kill, get his ult online for the next round. Got to imagine that EDG are fairly confident about getting those ults up anyway. Ult orb over by C hasn't been contested too much by SEN. Maybe this would be the round to pull out some kind of play like that. Fight over one of the orbs. Kang with all of those kills has now overtaken Tens and Zekken, who are tied at 21 apiece. But they still got to get 3 more of those, and now SEN have rifles back. Here's that same strat again.
Yep. Hiding away. Edge of the smoke just might reveal the hand of SEN of what they're going for here. The drone has to be broken. EDG making an attempt to play for that A-lobby control, inserting Smoggy, potentially for the long hauls. Util's going to be used, pulled out of them. They don't want anything to do with it. Hunter's Fury could get some tags onto a few of these players. Yeah, Kang. He was dodging, was weaving, was hoping that it would be unaccounted for. And here's the reaction. EDG now making the moves over towards C.
Who gets the plant in this position? Okay, nobody throws the spike over to Simon. That's going to get them Rolling Thunder active. Do they play aggressive with it?
They want to.
We saw SEN fail in this spot before.
They're going to let it loose. Let it rip in through the back. But it's so easy to overextend if you're the attackers. That's broken. That's the trigger. They want to try and go for this one. Smokes in their face. Aftershock as well. Rifles in play at works. Fault line. And get Sentinels back into the fight and back into the fray. Cut them up. Paranoia is perfect. Players are there. Sliding, gliding forwards. Chichu is dropped to his knees. And for EDG have to watch in dismay as the spike is defused. The map is stolen away. Their map pick of Haven. And now you have to stand up to the test that is Lotus, excuse me, for that map too.
A great opener from SEN. A squad that are just getting scarier and scarier.
Evolving as the course of the series goes on as well. The series, of course, to be concluded. EDG could still battle back, but it's going to be a hell of a task when SEN are playing like this.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Sentinels, they're on the board. I'm now joined by their head coach, Kaplan. Now, once you guys reached 12 points, it felt like it was going to be inevitable for you to take this map. But EDG, they were getting back into the game. So how did you guys manage to actually close this one out?
Yeah, I think we did a good job with sticking to ideas from the timeout, being able to run them again, realize that maybe a little mistake happened or they didn't see the gimmick. We were getting a bit inconfident, a little hesitant. I was ready to hit another timeout and say, why are we not swinging them harder, second guessing a little bit, I think, with ults. But we didn't have to do it. We ended up closing out in the end, so it was good.
And the vibes look great. How are the vibes with the team right now?
Very good. Definitely trying hard to get this win so we can have a little time to rest. A little break before up for finals. I think we're getting a bit tired, so.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Best of luck.
And Sentinels pick up the win, and I think it's safe to say that that game was awesome. Strongly agree? Strongly
I would agree with that.
Yes,
yeah, I would
yes.
agree. I would agree. And what Coach Kaplan is saying there is so pivotal, because if you remember their run at Madrid, that guy looked haggard. They were playing every single day. They had to go down below. They had to play every match.
Yeah.
And now here SEN have an opportunity to bounce back, win one more map, and get a break before the top 3 at the Inspire Arena.
I genuinely thought we were going to have another member of the Ball Brotherhood. You know what I mean? Whenever I saw Kaplan, I was like, brother, hold on to it for as long as you can. But you know what, though? though, what they were able to hold on to were these incredible post plants that we were seeing from Sentinels. I mean, goodness gracious, Kukuka. They had full control of the site, and honestly, it was all based off of Zekin's momentum. This guy was unreal.
Totally, but I think that the credit has to go to all of them. I think that, as I said, I think Zekin understands exactly what he needs to do, and when he has to overheat a little bit, you know, he has to be looking for these duels, he has to be confident enough to take it. But the plan overall on this executes was so clean, it was almost impossible for them to lose this kind of situations.
Yeah. I think that Neon is the mechanically most difficult agent to play in this game. And also,
Zekin makes it look like it's so easy.
Yes, but it also requires the best mechanics, because a lot of the time, even though you're getting set up with great team play, with breach stuns, with Sova darts, you're still put in positions where you have essentially just a 1v1. It's an advantaged 1v1, but you don't have a trade, and you have to be converting on those situations. And I think we saw in the first half so consistently Zekin being put in those positions where he had to take that duel, had to give his team the advantage, doing that really well, but then also having the restraint to chill out after getting that winning position, playing with the team and playing that proper Valorant to close out these critical rounds.
But I think also the defense is a very good example of that. You need to understand, like, sometimes we would see EDG, for example, the round that they fake onto A. Sentinels have the calmness to just look back and just reinterpret everything that is going on the map and not step very quickly into conclusions and into decisions.
It's very easy to get baited in those situations, and a credit goes to Sentinels for handling that expertly. Of course, you know, it goes to John Cutie and his incredible mid-round calling, but also we have a Verizon high-speed moment here, because rounds like this also help out, because now you get a big kill that comes through, and then at that point you put it on Zekin, you say, Zekin, go kill. And he did just that, open up the round for
And I mean, it was more than that even. It was TenZ with that teleport out of heaven to dive on in. They didn't have anything going into this round, but recovering that one weapon and some excellent team play on that retake basically, I think, snowballed them to closing out this second half.
And the craziest thing is that they did this the other day. Against the RX, they had a very similar round there where they just group up and decide to just isolate the duels, to just take always 2v1s or even 3v-Xs. And it's crazy to think that this just works again, that they identify that somebody might be lurking, somebody might have taken that position. They get that gun, and they just very slowly work their way into the site.
Yeah, it was methodical. It was well put together. That's not to take anything away from EDG, though, because they were starting to rally that comeback. Let's not forget, they were able to pick up those pistols early on, which allowed them to be able to stay competitive in this game. But now they got their backs against the wall. So let's see what's going on with the coach of EDG as we have Yinsu standing by.
I'm now standing by with Coach Margot from EDG ahead of Map 2 and Luna to do some translations as well. Now, on Map 1, there were a lot of chaotic and maybe messy moments. Was that part of your game plan? And if so, is this the part of your game plan as well for Lotus?
我觉得还是我们图一有点，就是准备要更进一步的时候，还是有一点紧张，然后就是可能大家都有点放不开或者什么的，就会显得比较混乱。但是我觉得图二和后面都会好起来。
I think we're a little bit nervous when we're trying to step one step ahead, but I feel like we'll be better. We'll get it better on the map too.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck.
All right, well, you heard there from the coach, but we'll see how they'll try to bounce back going in to map 2. Here comes the agent select, and you are going to get the Clove, the Neon, but shockingly enough, Sentinels are going to go and stick with the Rays rather than go with the Neon.
I'm so surprised because the change into playoffs, even though we've only seen them one time, was bringing in that Neon, but they decide to go for this map, knowing and understanding how EDG plays us and how to play around the Clove, how they play as a Sentinel, right? Because you having control over this map can become so difficult, but apparently Sentinels has found the key, or so they think.
Yeah, it was Lotus that Sentinels ended FPX's run in the group stage, and while they don't play this exact comp, FPX used to play a similar double controller. I imagine they were prepping for that comp. They've got to be prepped for this one, and this is their chance to make it into the top 3.
EDG's backs against the wall. Can they force a map 3? Take this one to distance. You want it, I want it. I know these two want it. Brent, Sideshow, over to you.
Though a map 3 would just be glorious, I think, between these two teams as well. And I hope that EDG have those hidden reserves, I think, to deliver that for us as well, because unfortunately, it is set against them right now in terms of expectations. Lotus is Sentinel's map pick. They have looked primed and ready to take the series away on this map in the past as well. Not just that, over the course of this tournament, I would say. They've looked stellar. They've looked amazing at this map.
Yeah, this is where they beat Gen G and I think played the best Lotus performance that we've seen all across Champions. but how much of that was knowing their opponent and playing standard comps? This is very, very non-standard from EDG, and we're going to get a clash on Mound.
Here's a hard read as the sea's nade up and over.
Wow.
And yeah, paint shells.
No, I think they got the read on this.
Exactly. Splitting them to pieces.
You couldn't get a better indication of that. Presumably, they would have held it if the fault line had not come through, and they were actually aiming for Simon in that spot, but they may have just let it go anyway. Hard antied them.
The preparation is clear right now for Sentinels.
As it was the last time they played on Lotus, they hard read what Gen G were bringing out. Are they going to expect this contact play, though? Up into A. John getting pressured a little bit here, but there's always the pivot through that blue room. That's where they're going. End on B.
Smoggy earned himself a lot of space for the rest of his team, and yet that is an open avenue as a flash and a peek from Smoggy, but nobody from Sentinels overstepping themselves. In fact, it's Smoggy who's worse for the wear. Might be calling for another refight. They are grouped up. I believe that's 3 players of EDG looking for the fight. They don't think Zekken is here. Cuts it up close. Boombot in his hands, lets it loose. Will take that contact in through the smoke. And the fight has to be taken. Risks in order for EDG to bail themselves out of this spot. But they just cannot hold a candle to everything SEN were running, man. It's layers ahead, thinking about it every single step of the way.
That's an utterly beautiful pistol round from SEN. Right from the beginning, you're seeing them anti with this C-Snade, and it looks like they were going to throw it even without the fault line there, based on the timing. That catches on to nobody. Look how well Zekken is played into this spot by Sassy. Sassy jiggles, making it feel like he's the only player Waterfall, and then Sassy even rotates to open the door and apply pressure from another route. It's perfection. It's actually scaring me watching SEN. they are playing so much better here.
It's all right, mate. You don't have to face them.
It's okay. Absolutely. But they're playing so much better than you have any right to expect of a team that looked like they were in a bit of a slump before champs. They've woken up.
All the experience accumulating. Mounting the hand to this. They've been in rough spots before, this Sentinel squad as well. And for how much this means for EDG in this series, where a win would get them top 3 for Sentinels, they've already reached those heights and more. They've lifted a trophy. They've been in these spots, and they know what it takes to win a tournament. On display, I think, from that preparation, TenZ doesn't overstep himself, just takes the one player. Kang drop down and out. Zekken with a re-exploration, realizing that these players are split up, and now it's time for a bit of orb farming. Zekken is going to want to try and potentially get that ult closer and closer to being online. Simon, tune him up. Nice crossfire setup with him and nobody, and it's brought it down to a 1v3, but with nobody low enough, as it is, Boombot spotting him as well. Did earn himself a gun and an open side onto C.
May have been slightly overzealous there, that push out through the smoke on C. Nobody's a great player. You can't give him openings like that. I think the health is just too low. It would be such a task for him to be able to get plant down and a free pick and reset and win the 1v2. Can just get spammed through any box, any slight door frame.
Nobody's just tapping this one with only 14 seconds left.
It looks like he's just trying to save the gun.
Trying to, save a gun, potentially catch that kill, but wasn't expecting to win that one, so he doesn't get away with a weapon either.
And he puts the Phantom back into the hands of Sentinel, so Zekken's going to be happy he got that one at the end. This is another thing that absolutely blew Gen G away, is that SEN are so good right now at putting the right people in positions to farm the ult economy on Lotus. It's Zekken again. This is mirror image, although the sides are swapped, of what happened last time they played on Lotus. Zekken, I'm sure people are going to be calling for him to play Neon on this map, but the Raze ult is so powerful, and Zekken always is there at the tip of the spear on pistols and follow-ups.
Oh yeah.
He's 2 away.
I mean, it's called Showstopper for a reason. Heavily impactful. Basically defines the way that you do play the map of Lotus with this composition. Very much all in, though, from EDG. In through B. Sentinels give up this open space onto the site. Willing to try and play this one into the retake. With the bonus weaponry that they do have. They are grouped up as well, so 5 versus 5.
Pressure here towards Heaven onto John Cutie, who only has a ghost. That could be the win con for EDG.
Making sure that they can dominate a portion of the post plan here. John Seemingly aware of it, though. He just catches that contact, and he makes the call that they are playing up towards heaven. The question is, does SEN have anything to deal with it? Bullets flying forwards. Luck at a draw was what they were hoping for. Simon doesn't need luck on his side. Flex the muscles, flex the mechanics. And with that, SEN, the round is dusted for them.
What a spot to put your breach in.
Yeah.
Smoggy get on the board early up as well. Helping settle those nerves. They need a big performance to come out from Smoggy, playing Clove on this map. One of the big reasons why you would make a pick like that. But until Smoggy starts putting up those big performances, Simon has been there, and he was there on Haven. Normally, it's like big impacting clutch moments or something that we've seen from Simon, but now he's just letting the raw aim do the talking, tucked into basically a one and done in that spot and gets two. Here's a fight over towards Rubble. Sees nade prepped again. We saw the value that that brought on the pistol.
Yeah, you might think as well clashes might favor EDG into this spot, but all it takes is the one. They're going to make a go of things here as well. TP up and towards the top. The Seas, I believe, was dead a little bit too early there, so they give up that space once more. Fault line. Second level of things here for EDG, just in case there is that refight. Chichu clearing most of this. It's the Sentinels players, though. They're lying in wait, and the paranoia triggers the play. Still, Chichu still there! And this guy is ready to punish them for the hubris, thinking that they could take that fight open and out. Sassy going for that repeak. The trade not in sight. Player's not ready to account for that one. Sassy's still here, man. Dropping himself back. Under 12 HP, but with 2 kills. Earned under the round and under his belt. There's an opening now for Sentinels in the round.
Champ's form, Sassy, is a dangerous beast. This is not guaranteed at all for nobody in Smoggy.
Clearing through the back of the side, you can tell that there's still levels of unknown. Even the Seas just use preemptively
absolutely.
in case that somebody was in that smoke.
They're worried about hard anchors. They're thinking that John could be in that spot. SEN have actually doubled up here. Looks like it could well catch EDG off guard.
Alpha advantage though for EDG. And Sentinels themselves splitting up. Watch for live from John. A couple of different avenues, but not pushed together. John, where have you pulled that one from? The brink seemingly, it leaves it all down to Smoggy. Time will start to tick onto this one here, and he's isolating his voice line and his players up, yet John stands tall to the pressure. And a rifle fire itself, he was not shaken. Wins it out, granting Sentinels that third.
John standing up, standing tall, as you say, not allowing the nerves or the moment to get to him. Trading out the player with the weaker health in front. I'm not a big fan of how Sentinels played this round, actually, in terms of their strategy to re-clear on Rubble. It gave EDG the advantage, and it was individual skill from Sassy. Plus, I mean, what is that?
Yeah.
Nice, boys!
SEN getting back in with the player quality that we know from this team. EDG need to be able to answer. Same or very similar Rubble setup from the defenders here. Ten's not playing inside tree. They're making a mix-up. Resetting very quickly to stop a B fight from happening. But if Simon rips his ult, all 3 players could be caught.
Seconds closer to showstopper, and he's going to let him rip early on. Oh, at least not even getting the kill. Damage done. Nobody's still surviving. Here's the Rolling Thunder, but they've crossed it up onto the corner. And Tens and Sassy will punish them for stepping past that.
What a read from SEN that was going B early on. Fake Rubble fight, and they've read the pivot over towards C here as well. They are not worried about a repop into B whatsoever. Taking spawn, waterfall, ready to fight these guys, deny the plant before it even comes through.
Hardest read.
John's so far ahead of the game.
Just following the sound cues as well, Simon. Sticking with the plant, he doesn't even get that. Bullets precisely lay it down exactly where they were needed, and Chichu's just praying, hoping that he doesn't receive the same fate. Spike planted, but it's not in a great spot here, and with the paranoia sweeping his way through, it's down to instinct and timing. Chichu still traded off, only with the one. Smoggy smoked off and away in a crossfire to lay claim to his life. Sentinels, again, showcasing the preparation, showcasing the form, the constant evolution of this squad, and the experience.
And look how beautifully they dodged that. 2 players still in crossfire position, Sassy and Tens, able to shut down that Rolling Thunder completely. And that, after their showstopper gambit, failed as well.
Yeah.
So
I
that
think
was
I'm
the
cheating, bro.
second layer of their defense.
Many steps ahead. It's getting to the point where I'm at risk as well. Overglazing Sentinels, perhaps, but honestly, they deserve it.
They do. The performance we're seeing from them at the moment is trophy lifting caliber, actually. The question is whether they can keep it up and whether EDG can answer back.
Shadows traveling.
EDG have pulled together essentially scraps to have a chance of having to full buy into the next. A-Control's given up. SEN, just looking to player positionings, they've got them surrounded on every front imaginable. The door's going to open up with the Prowler as well, but that's going to be broken down early. TenZ treating out through the back of the side. That is risky by second. Satchel to save the day, and Sassy striking right where it hurts. Unaccounted for with a pin to play. And it just feels like there's no hope at this point for EDG.
Sassy has hidden reserves. If you think back to the way in which this guy lifted a Champions Trophy in the past, all throughout that year, 2 years ago, he would always say, the team would always say, it doesn't matter about Masters, what we're prepping for is Champs. We're looking to level up and peak at the right time. When you watch him and the shots he's hitting, I don't think Sassy's been doing this very much this year, and I was a little worried that maybe he didn't have it in him anymore.
Right.
More fool me for thinking that. Of the bald beast from Brazil.
This guy, he is unreal with the form factor that he's been in over the course of this tournament. Even at the beginning as well, he was saying that it doesn't matter how many trophies you win, it just makes you more and more addicted to winning. It makes you want it more.
I think plenty of other SEN players will be feeling that right now as well. TenZ, Sassy, they understand it. And they've been both through the hard times as well as the good.
Oh, for sure.
And they're trying to bring that peak at the right moment.
Think back to last year.
Right there.
You don't have to think back far.
No, and that's one of the massive difference between these two teams. SEN are trying to fight as an org, you know, from TenZ's POV for that third trophy, that third peak. Whereas it would be EDG's first attempt at even making top 3, a podium finish, minimum bronze in this tournament if they were able to come back here. But it would take something, some incredible resilience, because right now they're looking beaten down. And they need this round. Their economy is getting stretched.
Slower play though. Quad 4, it's pulled a lot of these Sentinels players out and away. Kankang's the only player in through the side. Chichu sticking with the TP in through. You're in the smoke already. TP crossed up under the corner. Kankang punished from the Odin spam. Directed him exactly to where Zelsis is going to be playing from, and the smokes are renewed in the face of Sentinels. This is a different look for EDG, but still finding it difficult to even get this plant down. Nobody with the plan. Nightfall now. Going to be used and expended. Sentinels trying to use this to get themselves in. And John QT scatters their ashes to the wind. Chichu will have to hold it down. Out through the back move with all sound cut away. Not long for this world. Smoggy left. Isolating. Heads are popping. Sassy sticking onto the half. The util is good. Best chance in a long while. They've got to deal with Sassy. Not dead yet. Sassy sticking, but the swing coming through.
Another round where Smoggy gets impact. That's a huge turnaround from EDG in a spot where it looked like John off the back of Sassy's ultimate had done enough. EDG fight back, make sure that their eco isn't broken again, and get at least a second round on the board. Great punish from Kankang too. He's trying to give his team as many good opening opportunities as he can. That's more of that snappy aim that we've come to expect from Smoggy. Looked good there in that position, anchoring towards water. And now big rubble fight again. SEN have not really wanted to opt into these, but they have been doing some re-clear strats.
TenZ to spot it out though. He opened the door himself as well to see if he could take a quick little peek. Like a gamble on his part with a pixel angle, but he's going to be retreating now. Throw into the back of the side. EDG, they want to go rapid. Increase of the tempo, overdrive as well. That's put in a squeeze, and TenZ tested in that moment. Can't offset EDG. Overwhelming him as the smokes dissipate too. John QT is fully unaware. Nades ricocheting, but it matters not. Smoggy right there when you least expect him.
And EDG do have it in them. What a beautiful change of tempo. Just when it looks like they're down and out, they put together two very nice rounds. utilizing the fact that SEN have been a bit timid over on Rubble. Haven't put together a round where SEN have gone for the full denial. Seen spots where Celsius has clutched in that position before, but he's got no hope here. He's just trying to hold on to that Phantom. It's his first kill, strangely enough.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Sometimes that's the way of things when you do end up dominating, winning by such a margin that you just don't get involved into the fights.
Other people are just doing it for him.
Yeah. Keeps it in the next though. And this is EDG, I think, with that tempo increase. The prior round, if you remember, think back, that EDG did win. They started with a very slow default.
Super slow. First minute, they weren't really doing much. I mean, they were pressuring towards A and C, making it difficult for SEN to get the read.
Yeah.
But that was a massive increase in pace. And Tens got caught completely off guard there. John wasn't fast enough to make a decision about what he wanted to do, how he wanted to support Tens. So the Omen star for Sentinels was left adrift there on the A site. Kaplan's going to come in, add his own experience into the mix. He was talking during the coaching interview about how on Haven he felt like his team had done a great job of listening to him during the timeouts, taking some of the strategies he'd given them and applying them in the right moments. Yeah. They're going to need to do the same again to stay ahead of the game here. But Second continues to be playing at an outrageous level. Since he's picked up the Neon, by the way, he's been averaging 300 ACS, 200 ADR. In the previous map, he was 9-1 in first kill to first death Second.
Jesus.
He was 5-0 in first kills against Kankan.
Yeah.
And he's kept all of that pace up, proving that it's not to do with the agent he's playing. Now 10-4, 1 away from Showstopper.
He's locked in.
And it looks like they're going to be bringing that over towards A. This is very similar to what they were doing against Gen G. Putting John Cutie here as well gives them a snake bite to be able to shut down any EDG Rubble fight. But they've got the read slightly wrong here. They're going to just end up using a ton of util when EDG are not contesting it.
Yeah, and so a lot of that's not going to be used for retake, for plant denial. And scurry away as well. Most of the space is going to be given up. It's hard to hold on to this with EDG's composition. The double initiator, Prowler, Sassy, catching the contact. Needs to be careful. The door is open wide for the evacuation.
And that's where you see the value of Clove Smokes as well. Smoggy throws one down and they're able to get this space. And they found a completely open A site. EDG come out of the attack timeout, read SEN perfectly.
Great ideas. Center in position though to try and make it a go of this one with the flood defense. Rocket to the floor, and it finds the contacted target exactly Zekken was looking for. Almost beamed down into the process, but it's a kill advantage, and that puts the uncertainty in place here for EDG into tap. And they want nothing to do with the A site.
I mean, ideally they'd be looking to pivot over towards B, but they don't actually have any info there. Nobody playing B main. They'd have to be worried about so many angles if they did go for that pivot. They also only have one smoke on Smoggy right now.
Door opened and a cut of noise. Trying to bait SEN in for the re-exploration. Still the Haunt will reveal the hand. And Smoggy cuts it up onto the angle as they're trying to evacuate and make that pivot possible out towards B. There's still players at their backs. Sentinels could be ready to remove a few lives. Peek from Sassy. Haunt as well, doesn't get broken. And it's flanks on flanks, the timing's round and round we go. Simon reveals it. It's a phone line. He's trying to play his team back in, but from that angle, John QT is none the wiser.
He thought it was coming from sight.
Still a 2v2. Not planned to really for them well. Not at the baby door, Sassy's holding. Damage done to Zelsis. It's precarious. He feels like he can't really make the tap happen. Contact, high-low, EDG. Waiting to strike that time pressure. Sentinels, you're running out of wing cons. You've got to stick this at some point. Circle's got to be shrinking at some point here. Locking it down onto the corner and half not earned. It's EDG bringing it back. One round at a time is how it's done. A 4-for-1 to the tally and one more to be even.
If nerves were affecting them during Haven, as Muggle said, there are no signs of it anymore. These last 3 rounds, absolute steel nerves from them after Sassy goes for the tap. They don't budge an inch. They didn't give any possibility of a fight there to Zelsis or Sassy. And Simon, I thought he might have given it away with the fault line, but he still ended up finding value in his lurk spot. We're back into this round. Sentinels again, making sure that Rubble belongs to the defenders. but it is a large util investment.
An immediate response again from EDG to making the right reads in that regard.
Yeah, I think coming out of this tag timeout, it's actually worked against Kaplan. EDG are even happier knowing that there's 4 players committed to A at the beginning of the rounds.
There's going to be another level to this one. It was a Paranoia and a Prowler used by EDG. Rolling Thunder is earned, and Simon has it primed and ready. Up and over the top. A lot of angles to account for. That is composure from Kang, and he wants to take it one step further still. Defended. Up and over the shoulder, the IGL will put Kang to bed.
EDG, though, have taken so much space. Sen group up, re-clear through spawn. Tens the backstab through waterfall as well.
Unorthodox with the angle, nobody! It is aim train to the skies. Yep, that Haunt, it still gets the value and still gets the damage done. Chichu can't land it with a spray, but eventually there. Stun still connecting, Sassy now sticking, defended, up and around, and Simon's left to do it all from that spot. It's just not possible.
What pace, what aggression from Sen! How does Sassy survive with 5 HP there? Smoggy once more put in a position to win a round for EDG. He's top of the scoreboard, but I think he whiffed his chance again. 120 to the body by the look of things, and Sassy still won the duel. This is what I'm talking about. Can't be allowed to happen. He's got to be winning those kind of fights. Another spot where Sassy comes up huge, and this time opting into the rubble fight on a weaker buy. But Sen don't have the snake bite here. And actually, EDG, right as the barriers drop, start drifting away as well. They don't want any piece of that.
Slower play from EDG is going to be called. Throw a bit of caution into the mix. There's still danger for EDG, you know, despite the fact that it is a weaker buy. They have 3 rifles.
Absolutely. And if there was a round for Smoggy to find some impact, it would be now with Clovel online. This looks like a setup to try to punish people in Mound or B, depending on where Sen take contact first.
Pings. Yep, they saw John before he was even aware of the process.
Right there.
Pluck him out of the picture, taking him out with a head. As Paranoia is beautiful, blinding up into this spot. Smoggy is putting the squeeze on alongside Chichu.
I love that read. Smoggy and Chishu there ready to backstab the people trying to punish Mound. EDG, their macro game has been remarkably good these last 5 or so rounds.
Then they're trying to go for round 2. While this is going on, though, it's EDG that somehow has been flipped up against him. With Chichu being dropped, Smoggy now has to contain and contest alongside the flank. Never go around with the door rotating. It's random sprays and rifles. Well trained. EDG, they know what it takes to get the round done, finished, clocked up, and sealed up with every single kill. Sassy scurrying to save the weapon into the next. This is EDG. As I said at the beginning, there was danger with those 3 rifles, and they put them to good usage, put them to good work.
And if Sassy can save this weapon and save his armor, there is a chance that Sen is still going to be able to put together a good buy. That's why it's so important he keeps the Phantom online. EDG have just turned the map, honestly. It looked like Sen were about to put up a decent lead heading into the half, and now 6-6.
Yeah.
More than possible, likely, I think.
Can't argue with EDG's grit, determination here. They lose the opening pistol round, yet still being able to make it even in terms of rounds at the first half.
Yeah, and I think nobody's adaptations have been really solid too. Yeah. The tag timeout that Kaplan took, I think Muggle had more impact.
Isolate and exterminate.
The tempo switch up from EDG, always keeping Sen guessing. Once more, the all-in with the util. Burns an ult. John is committing this pit.
Okay, interesting play. EDG might want to accelerate here into C. It's only Zelsis. He can pop down the ult, but he might get pressured in waterfall.
Yeah. Nano Swarms gonna be deaded here. Divides up the site. Retake Viper Wall as well for Sentinel to try and play with. Makes it hard for EDD to chew through. Zelsis now. Lockdown. It's nothing to really clear this one. You have to take this one. Fighting straight up. Brute force on display. Blinded up, though, and the util is overwhelming. Sheer cacophony of it. Nothing to clear it. Respect has to be shown. EDG now have to back away. Cut away with the sound cues. They don't even know if anybody's onto this one, but just peering up and over, spamming away. Still earning their way into a round win. EDG and Kang ahead of the curve, unaccounted for. Up onto the side. That's a 6-6 finish for EDG, despite everything that was against them.
What a comeback. This Chinese squad not going down without a fight. Winning 5 out of the last 6 rounds.
Red Bull gives you wings.
We are heading in.
Picked up from Gen G does give them opportunities to win fights long range very consistently.
Sentinel's gone for slow siege, a nice hold to start. EDG given easy access over towards A Rubble 2. Chichu's happy to take up that space as well. It's going to be giving a lot of mid-round information over, but no exploration really from anyone else on EDG.
EDG do tend to leave the C site fairly weak. You can see here it's only Smoggy holding that down. 12 not usually enough to hold onto a site all on their own.
The presence. What a Prowler's committed over towards A.
As the Viper Wall goes up as well, threatening that Sen could be contacted behind that. As the Viper Wall drops, EDG start to realize it's not A at all. They reinforce towards C. Is there a pivot here? Are they going to fake C and hit B? That would leave Kang Kang in a very exposed position.
Bill Kang Kang. Maybe spotted. Yes, indeed. The season need it. Rebounds as well, but there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide out against it. Util combo. Unfortunate. Kang Kang's going to be dropped, and that first kill handed over to Sen, but there's still chances for EDG. They're doubled up. It's a high-low waiting for the bodies to come flying forwards here. Playing up the sound cue. Stun was good and stopping them in their tracks. Sentinels cannot cross that line, and the barrier just not there for them. Zelsis time against him. And it's of the essence. It needs to be that defense. 4 seconds left. They've got to stick this one. It needs to be covered. Chichu. He wins the day. John QT was not there in time. And so EDG with a pistol round to begin the second half of Lotus.
The crowd here certainly believing that it's winnable. That fault line from Simon, superb, coming cross-map to be able to pick it up. Sure, it doesn't actually allow a kill to follow up off the back of it, but it distressed Sen, made them have to hit the C site in a couple of different waves and allowed for easier kills from nobody. Where was John towards the end of that? If he'd been tight with Zelsis, that's clearly a round victory in the pistol.
One has to be accounted for, but oh, Smoggy. I'm expecting that it could be players up in the smoke. The purpose of it, handed over a gun. Simon's good though.
Simon's been asked to do so much in this match, and he's been there for it every time. What a warrior for EDG.
He dishes it right back as well. A little bit of safety here for EDG, but while all that was going on, they did lose access to most of the map. The rotations that were made, Chichu, you can tell just from his positioning, he's scared of like an A-lurk, the potential of that.
EDG do not have that Viper to play around, which means no frequent wall or smokes in B. So I think this is going to be a theme of SEN's attack side, looking to see if they can contact up and get picks in this area. They're going to realize no one's home. They don't have smokes to work with themselves, apart from that Viper orb.
Plan here, Junkie T. Sticks it down. Doors opened up from Simon, looking to contest as well. He's definitely putting a squeeze on these SEN players.
Cover going out.
As long as there's that caution from EDG, they should be able to find a way through this round here. Kill. And Chichu wins it out. Seconds quite there. Rapid onto the approach, but right behind him is Kang. Trying to take him out. Pesky problem up through heaven. Tap already, and the movement is nice. Ajar, snappy from John, but Simon sticking a defuse. Full confidence in the rest of his team as well to cover that one still. SEN will make it expensive.
But that's the best they're able to accomplish in that round. It does seem like a bit of a weakness, a bit of a gap, and EDG are going to have to do a lot of pivoting on the defense side to reinforce these holes. Smoggy's alone on C. He needs those rotates to come through quickly enough, and all of those rotates are going to come by the fact that EDG is maintaining rubble control. You need deep rubble info to be able to allocate your resources towards the rest of the map. So I would be expecting SEN to try to re-clear a bit more heavily in the kind of early to mid round.
Yeah.
And yet we haven't seen that from them yet.
That was the kitchen sink thrown out by EDG. Junkie T is going to be reading all that util.
Second took a little bit of damage there, but it's not permanent.
There's fear from SEN here. They're worried about a trap play potentially. Celsius one away now from the lockdown. It's one of the things that this EDG comp is good at when you're running the double initiator.
Yeah, they can set up huge traps. But look again, the rubble control is all the way of EDG, and so they can afford to have 2 players C currently.
Deep Haunts. Broken. Kang's position not revealed out through the back there with the door opened wide. Smoke in his face. Bit of anti-synergy perhaps. He was hoping to potentially see some players scattered with 40 seconds. Sentinel's options are running dry.
They're going to have to go towards B. You can see the pings on the minimap. They're going to make it look like they're re-clearing onto rubble.
And trying to push his players back! What is that from nobody? Close quarters. It's where he thrives. Stinger in hand. A buy round for SEN. Full investment with the rifle. Simon, he's ahead of most of that util, but may have just given Sentinels a win con and into the round.
Very similar to the prior round here. A 3v4, SEN at a disadvantage. Can they try to make something happen in post plants? EDG need to play tight, together. Chishu, nobody, doubling up.
It's all split up by SEN as well. Everybody's just willing to take their own fights here. The rifle out open, what an adjustment. Nobody snaps to the sides. Dismisses John as easily as that. Sassy, his turn to step up, but a movement at charge just makes it so damn awkward. Tens up and ready. Smoke in his face, 60 HP. Not just a tap, it's a full stick as well from Kang with the smoke as well. The play around comes down to that RNG. And the shots and bullets just not landing for him. EDG, that's now a bonus round conversion into the second half of Lotus.
They've taken control here. Sentinels have only won 1 round out of the last 9. This is dominant from EDG. They got activated halfway through that first half, and then now they can't be stopped. The double kill from nobody is absolutely ludicrous. That's the kind of thing that Sentinels cannot afford to happen to them.
No.
And I think they've got a major problem here, which is breaking through that rubble control. EDG are allocating 2 players to holding it, one on top of rubble, the other on route, and SEN can't break through. Anytime they put the Viper wall up in a Prowler, the Prowler's broken too early, there's spam through or some level of defensive utility, and they're not taking that area.
Yeah.
And they look afraid to opt into the fight at the start of the round. We've seen them default towards C, I think every single round on their attack side so far.
Yeah, they've been trying to apply pressure towards it. maybe re-explore over towards A. But the trouble is when you're playing against this EDG comp, like SEN are trying to take C, mound control, pressure over towards it, pull rotations potentially, but they're taking too long to do it.
And also their pivots through between B and C are getting slowed down by Simon's utility.
Yeah, it's been
so
pretty
Simon
perfect.
can fault line, and he's been immaculate with those. He can fault line to allow the defense to rotate between B and C quicker than SEN can. Sentinels only bringing Sheriffs into this round. EDG looking to fight them in mound here. Pretty aggressive option to go for on the anti-eco, to be honest. And these massive ultimates for SEN not going to be used in this round unless they find that opening.
This could go wrong very easily. Prowler catches up onto Kang. C's expended, Tens has the TP to evacuate.
And this is a very different look, right? EDG have been maintaining their macro advantage by being able to hold on to this space here, Rubble. And now they've given it to SEN. The rifles should sing, however.
Chichu is the only player locked down over towards A. He's called for the reinforcements. Smog is going to be joining him. Stray Bullet's going to be laid down. Door's broken though. There's a pivot from SEN. Essentially all players trying to make the moves over. Zeltis just a shoulder peeking out, trying to bait this shot. Simon can't maintain it. It's rattled back and forth here, but with the Sheriffs, Sentinels are trying to make this one work. An ultimate pulled out with a nightfall and a flank occurring right from the back. This will put the squeeze onto the remaining SEN players. Up to them to try and bail themselves out with the heroics, and an all committed damage done. Decay is still there. Sassy, weak as anything, doesn't know that the players are rapidly approaching. And they dismantled the hold that SEN were just desperately trying to cling to on the site.
There was a lot of danger there, though. I don't think EDG should be going for that kind of defensive setup too often in the rest of this half, because it did open the door for SEN. A couple of nice shots as well. That one in particular, Sassy finding Kankan. Made the round winnable enough for John to try to invest that pit. But their big ultimates to get into sites yet to be expended. Lockdown, Showstopper. Those are going to be active here for this incredibly pivotal. I was going to say eco swing round, but to be honest, SEN, with the loser's bonus, they're still going to be able to buy up into the next. I still expect them to treat this one as if it's mightily important, though, and stop EDG getting to 11. EDG leaving A utterly open.
Gone for a fight, though. Zeltis has been caught by this. The stun is perfect. Kang is right there. Up onto it. Paranoia slightly misses. Ultra expended. Ultra committed. And EDG have put everything into this. But they topple. They fall. Crumbled from the util in a hold of Sentinels. It's discipline that reins them in.
EDG, after the TAC timeout, have tried to change their defensive setups. Anything that they've gone for that was different to what they opened with has failed. And this is nice pressure. It's just keeping Simon anchored to the A site. Does it pull Smoggy away? No, he's going to read this.
Still at that angle. It's a brutal one to take. Crosshair placement, there's many angles he could be peeked from, but Smoggy feeling like he has to take it at that point.
And I think SEN will be super happy about this result. A 4v1 that Simon is not going to find winnable, and SEN still have huge ults to work with. And as you pointed out earlier, Simon, he ripped that one off. They really wanted to show a different tempo on the defense side, catch SEN unaware before they could get into position to use lockdown, Showstopper, these kind of ults. It didn't work. The threat is actually being worse than the threat of the Showstopper and the lockdown here is causing more problems for EDG than the ults themselves.
Right.
Because it's forcing them to feel like we have to go and take the fight. We have to change something up.
Be proactive, pull the ults out early.
And the proactivity is not working. SEN's protocols are looking lovely to defeat it.
It's handed SEN that 7th round here. They're still down by 3 for EDG.
Bit of a whiff from Kankan as well to open the round up.
Yeah.
But you see there the mount pressure and then open the door, punish the B players. All of the protocols there working really nicely for SEN. And they do have a massive ult advantage now. So EDG, they might still feel like they have to play proactively. Because otherwise, what do you really have to stop these ults from getting value and getting a sight?
Yeah, look at the minimap, EDG. 4 players moved up right and over. Simon priming the fault line. He's going to let it loose relatively early there just to set up Kang onto the line. Tens accounted for, spotted onto the corner. Here's the response, showstopper, ricochets, and claims Smokey. Couldn't bound and bounce his way out of the fight. 4 versus 4.
And that early proactivity, though, means that EDG had to give up rubble. So now SEN, 4v4, like you said, but they have control over Mound and front B and rubble. They own the map.
Toxin screen down.
John just trying to tether those players over towards the A side as well. Rest of Sentinels. Creeping and crawling their way over towards the B side, now committing into this plan. They're going to hear these noise cues. EDG are relatively split apart. They're actually not connected.
You could kind of say the same for Sentinels, though. Zeken's going to back off. If he was playing that post plant on site, he would have been very isolated. And we saw John being disconnected on the lurk was critical in terms of how they lost the pistol round.
Fault line used here. Simon's position. They're going to know this is online. Lockdown has to be defended as well. Stuns, Ricochet in second. Couldn't hold a candle to it. Kankai's there, spraying, spamming, praying that they can do it. But they can't break the lockdown in time. Respect has to be shown. Time starting to tick. Simon wants to increase the heat. The tempo there for it. Just making sure he's the distraction already. But the circle shrinks. Time escapes EDG into that spot. All goes wrong with no way to clear that lockdown.
They did actually do enough damage to break the lockdown as well. Really bizarre interaction. It said 0 players detained and lockdown broken at the same time.
Oh.
But the thing that had happened was it was way too late. I mean, the setup for that, it's in such a safe position. You got no chance of being able to break it in enough time to pull off the retake there. Kankai did what he could, but it just ended up being far too overpowering, that ult advantage. And now, when EDG can play a little more reserved, a little more focused on denying rubble control, a little more like they did in rounds 13, 14, 15, well, now they don't have the weaponry behind it.
No, it's difficult. Put some partial investment into it with nobody rifle in hand. He's dropped down to 300 credits, but Sentinels, they catch most of the signs of life, and now they want to send it out towards this C site. There are players ready to play spoiler. Waterfall is not being cleared. Prowler, second level of things. Kankai taking a peek, overdrive, it's there, and the Nightfall committed. Sen feeling awkward, shaky territory. Open angles not presented to Kankai. He can't be collecting any of these kills, and the C's dodged in the moment. Still another tap, Sassy. He's waiting for round 2. Smoke to try and play themselves in and cut up the side. It's one from Tens himself, realizing they've lost control of most of this one. 50 seconds left, stun, in for the back, nobody, just can't land it. Shots going wide, up and around, second high ground angle. And that slight pause that Sentinels are willing to place into the round. It's enough for EDG to just overextend themselves enough. Hand getting slapped right back.
Phenomenal patience from Sentinels. I don't think they had a way out of that to actually get the plant down if EDG continued to hold in the spots that they were in. But they baited out. As you said, that slight overextension from the retakers. And at that point, it's an eco advantage. SEN have brought this one back really nicely. The gap has closed to 1. But this next round, round 20, is going to be where EDG can try to fight back. Yes, nobody's hurt the economy for himself a little bit, but the rest of the players are going to have rifles in hand. There's no big ultimates available for Sentinels to disrupt things and give them easy openings to the site.
Chiju can drop the rifle too.
Right. So heading into round 20, this is where SEN are back to the same question that flummoxed them at the start of this half. How do you break through without having to rely on ults? EDG are going to take a tactical timeout.
One enemy remaining.
I'll just be calling as well for a return to what was working for them.
They could be, but at the same time, when you take that timeout, it implies to me like you're going to try to mix something up. And just as we saw on that timeout in the first half of Lotus, where Kaplan hit the panic button and it actually favored Muggle, this could be another situation actually where you're giving time for SEN to come up with their own adjustment.
Yeah.
And try to get ahead of what EDG might be doing.
Exactly right. 0 timeouts left for Sentinels here, so it could be that lifeline that's just given up to them.
This is the way that the ults play on Lotus now. The pressure back onto SEN to prove that they can make things happen. in a kind of dry fight between the two teams. I would be expecting EDG to put heavy emphasis on rebel control, though. I think that was working really nicely for them. Nobody and Chishu locking down that area, posting one on route, one on rubble, making sure that Sentinels can't just contact Reclear in there.
Just on the minimap as well, looks like early signs that we will be seeing that.
Yeah, but at the same time, not with the Fade util by the look of things. Now, there is a Haunt lineup you can throw from B, but you're not going to get anything else. Yeah, nobody's gearing up for it. Okay, so they're going to throw the Haunt lineup there, over towards A, make you feel like it's super heavy pressure, and we're back to what looks like kind of similar stuff at the start of this half.
Yeah.
A rerun of round 15.
Back to where we landed. Smoke to cover. But over the top here, nobody's off angle. Simon takes the peek here, bullet to the brain, but luckily the wall saves his life. Keeps him kicking into the round.
You see that Zelsis was anticipating the second player. He thought he was getting pushed in the moment. As soon as he spots Simon, he's worried that the stack is on B, and he would be right to think that. So now SEN are going for a re-clear, and this time, nobody's home. The stuff that was working for EDG, setting up aggressively, denying this space. They've abandoned it.
It's up to Chichu and Simon. Only two players sitting here. Reinforcements are called for. Kang as well is going to be able to play this part towards A, but a door's in his face.
Do EDG go for some kind of quick pre-take as SEN get into sight? They got the pace to do it.
Yeah, most of it's going to be fading as well. Chichu does have that open access. Door's going to be broken down. Kang has already ripped this one away, but it's traded. In kind. Tenz is there. Satchel play. Beautiful. Tracking. Chichu's there. Aware of the fact that there could be that second player. And drops Tenz out of action. 18 seconds left. TP forwards. That is crazy stuff by Chichu. But honestly, the pressure, it's all on Sassy. Reload committed, side by side. Needs to play this one in, but the rest of his team accounted for, but time against him. It's only 4 seconds left, and at this point, it's against them. They realize it. EDG backing away. Nobody just has to survive, and it's a round win for EDG up to 11.
Another situation where Zelsis has to watch the round slip through his fingers. The grains of sand fall away from him, and he's just got no hope. It's a slight spacing problem here. Tenz isn't inside the smoke as Second goes through it. They're worried about somebody having dominated it prior. And so Tenz can't quite swing through to trade that kill. It becomes very difficult for the Superstar duo to get going. EDG make their way up to 11. This map is so winnable to push us to Sunset.
I would love for the Sunset to be the case. EDG have looked pretty good on the map in the past.
Both teams have. It will be another banger.
It's the door opened up by SEN, looking to clear most of the way. Front section of B. Hoping they can pull players back and over as well. The re-clears over towards A. Not been great from SEN.
They haven't been great when players have contested it, and now EDG are. They've got fault line paranoia here. It should be very difficult for Sassy to even fake like they're taking this space.
Usually Sassy's going to be trying to lead this one in with a Prowler in hand. It's util used by nobody. Gets acknowledgement over towards C. The Haunt wasn't broken. They know there's a player now. Out towards the back of the site. The Snakebite flying up and over. Chichu, no choice now but to back away. Simon. He's here to save the day for him, though. Still holding on to control of this one. And seems like the read is right there for EDG.
But SEN also know there's no paranoia, no fault line, none of that business to stop them getting into the C site.
It's down to Smoggy. He's holding it down towards the back. Beaming him down. Still got the ult as well. It's not dead yet. Nobody up and over the top. Punish onto Tenz. Nana Swarms shredding them to pieces onto the back of the site here. But as the smokes dissipate, Smoggy is alive and ready to deny the entirety of the round. And Sassy once more time. Drifting away. It's a 12th round now for EDG. They can taste it. They're on the brink. It's match point, and it will send them to Sunset.
The way in which EDG are holding on to these sites, it is beautiful. There needs to be a bit more coordination, though, between Zekken and TenZ to get in. But look at these layers of defensive utility being used there. The stun that comes through from Kangkang is so important. Right? Stop all of those players that would love to trade from following up through the choke point. 3 chances to close things out before overtime. A massive rubble fight.
Yeah, and this could just be an explosive finish to the map here for Sentinels, opting into it. The Haunt is dropped and broken.
One of the first times that SEN have actually fought over this at the start of the round. They push EDG back. They're not willing to go much further. Zekken didn't manage to get up and pick up that ult orb. Now they're looking for the one over towards C. Smoggy's aim has been remarkably good after a bit of a drought on Haven. But all right, Showstopper acquired. There's that major tool that powered SEN to most of their wins in this half. It was ults based.
Kang! Almost there, the crosshair placement wasn't, but still he snaps it back. Well aligned, accounting for everybody!
Spike down A.
And SEN just cannot hold against it. Showstopper now used as desperation. Following the traces, Zekken takes the gamble. But all that play, all that work, it's an ult expended to no avail. Zelsis dropped. The options are withering away. For EDG, they can feel it, they know it. Sunset is ready and waiting. It's primed for them here. Nightfall scatters, TenZ is low, no more sound cues to work off of. Haunt lights him up. The TP to adjust, but again, he's no long for the world. Zekken, last one left. And he cannot dodge this util. EDG are ready to swarm, ready to collect. It'll take a miracle to stop it at this point. They are not ready to let it happen. EDG will not be denied a chance for greatness.
It was a bit of a nervous, timorous opening for EDG on Haven, but they dismissed that and found the fire in their bellies. They're willing to go forwards to Sunset.
It's a good map for both of the teams as well. I mean, if these two maps have been anything to really judge these teams off of as well, back and forth, it's anyone's game. It's still here for a minimum top 3 spot. It's all on the line here at Champs 2024.
EDG brings it right back, and we're going to map 3, folks. Exactly what we felt like could very well happen, given the level of play that we've been seeing from both of these teams. But my goodness, was EDG absolutely lights out on Lotus. Excellent stuff.
You look at that first half and it looked like Sentinels had it in the bag. An excellent defense,
they started
put them at advantage,
Yeah.
but then EDG in the second looked out of this world. The side anchors in particular, Smoggy holding things down on C, round after round, showing some real resiliency to stay in this upper bracket.
And we were talking about it, right?
Yeah.
That not having maybe that extra bit of utility, having to play more for the kills and actually for looking those duels instead of just stopping them. Actually, them gaining a lot of momentum and capitalizing on the mistakes that SEN were committed. And also when we go into that second half, Sentinels running out of time in so many of this situation.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of these big plays that we were seeing, and honestly, you get yourself, into that next half by going tied 6-6. Okay, you're looking pretty solid, but what really impressed me, that defensive side, absolute shutdown. They could not get presence in rubble whatsoever. They were just getting dominated every single time. Like pretty much any extremity on the map, Mimi, they were being met with the full force of EDG.
Yeah, SEN kept trying to go for these early defaults towards C Mountain, and they were getting that space pretty often. But this A control was such a tough nut to crack. The only time they were really getting that space was these late round re-pushes, and then when they were going for the executes at the end of the round, EDG did such a great job of conserving the right pieces of utility, and also having the right reads to set up and shut down in those critical site execs, where one kill, one death will make the difference between staying in this upper bracket or going down below and having to run the gauntlet.
Yeah, we're talking about top 3s. Actually, we're talking about a top 3 potentially for EDG. If they're able to carry on that momentum, Simon was having such a game. Him finding a couple of kills at the beginning of so many rounds just so easily and throwing things off. It's very surprising to see that, especially after having that first loss in the map that they chose, they can do this. And now thinking about the next one, thinking about Sunset, I'm still looking forward to it, the second part of that head-to-head on the Neon.
And honestly, when I looked at the series layout and we got it in, I honestly felt as if this was anyone's game, because it felt like everyone got what they wanted. Look, EDG are no slouches on Lotus, same thing for Sentinels. There were no slouches on Haven, same thing for Sentinels. I mean, like Mimi, this game has been everything. And what's fascinating about Kong in this particular situation, he was more of a setup and get the job done kind of guy, because he was actually at the bottom of the leaderboard for his team coming out of Lotus, but he was such an impact player.
He had a lot of impact rounds, but I think him not having an outstanding map as an individual is the reason why this win is all the more impressive. If you think back to EDG's previous top finishes, when they had their breakout tournament at Masters Tokyo, that was defined by EDG. The casters were talking about it. Kong having one of the best individual offing performances we have ever seen, maybe ever, at a global event, especially since the Chamber meta. It was the best we've had. This has not been about him.
It's
this run at Champions has been about the team, has been about them stepping up their macro, has been about them showing stellar mid-rounding despite coming into this tournament with a brand new IGL and a new rookie player on the initiator role. And they have looked good. If they are to win this final map and make their first ever top 3, I think this is the proof that China's not just a region about star individuals anymore. They have the talent, the skill, and the strategy to beat the best in the world.
Yeah, and think about also what they did in Lotus, like Smoggy playing on C. Most of the things that we were seeing has been things that we have seen from EDG in the past. It's not like they reinvented themselves. I think that they were just going on with the idea of keep everything in the strats that we have, and that is exactly what they need for Sunset. I think that they need to polish a lot of things. Yes, Kong being set up is very, very good, but what happens if he has the same performance that he's been having here on Lotus? Are they going to be able to step up, to keep having that individual performance and just swapping up the plans so it's not that Kong dependent?
And it would be an amazing moment for EDG. But to flip the script for Sentinels, everyone was talking about how back they were, how good they looked in their early stages, debuting in these playoffs. After winning Masters Madrid, not even making it to Shanghai, and now coming back here and looking in a form that it seems achievable to lift another trophy, to go down to the lower bracket here, have to run that gauntlet again. That would make the chances of repeating a trophy for TenZ to pick up his third so much more difficult.
It would be an absolute story, but either way you shake it. You got an EDG that once would come into these global events as wide-eyed, plucky, ambitious youths that wanted to, you know, push the boundaries, see how far they could go. Now this is a squad that can comfortably contend for championships. I personally feel that way. And then for Sentinels on the other side, they've been there, they've done that. They won Madrid. They see themselves, you know, potentially, you know, lifting a trophy one more time. But the problem is that you're going into a sunset that is genuinely good for both teams.
Yeah.
Both teams this is like, well, I said it at the beginning. You go right in the middle of the ring, you throw a couple left hooks, a couple right hooks. It's a boxing match. That's what you want to see here at Kakuka. You do not want to see...
Of course you make that reference.
Yeah, got it. Sometimes, you know, maybe I'll you know, do a little wrestling reference, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a little Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes in the middle of the ring. But here we go. Now we're going to see things locked in, and we're right back to that neon duel that we saw at the beginning of the series.
I'm thinking about Sentinels, I'm thinking about Zek, and I know that we talked about it. The impact that he was having with the operator made DRX sweat, and they need to make EDG sweat if they want to take this and continue on that upper bracket.
Similar comps. Biggest difference here is the KO versus the Breach. Sen is going to have a lot of set stuff. Zekken following up of Zelsis' stuns. EDG, however, is going to have a lot of information. The cross-map knives, the flash combos with that Sova as well can be really potent. They're both good comps. Both these teams are comfortable on this map, but there's only one shot in that upper final.
That's right, Mimi. This is it. Who pushes forward to the Inspire Arena? Let's go ahead and find out. Send it back over to your casters one last time. It's Bren and Sideshow.
That's exactly the case. It's the Inspire Arena. Shift the move as well as they fight for that trophy, but I think one of these teams is going to be able to earn that chance to even get to that point. Of course, there will be backup plans, I guess. You want to run it through the lower bracket, I suppose. Listen, Sentinels have been there before, but it's not a position you want to put yourself in.
It makes a massive difference. Whoever wins this match, not only are you playing for all of that glory, you have 5 days off to prep and to ante, to get that break that I'm sure both of these squads desperately need. Here on Sunset, we've seen some excellent performances from both of these squads.
And slow and steady to begin. Chichu going to be hearing most of his presence, but he hears no footsteps off the back of it. He might just think it's... Yeah, false presence at that. Still, it's going to be util being used to try and bail him out. It's Kang sends it flying with the rally bolt here. Stuns flying. Okay, with the right clicks as well. No kills to be earned. And a quick pivot over towards Market.
They were not expecting to see Zelsis here.
Up through the gut. EDG paving the way over towards the A side. John QT is going to be a lot asked of him. Smoggy is way ahead of the rest of most of his team, in fact, through the cage, almost claiming a second. But eventually put him down and out. Sitting back to the spectator seat. It's an open A site now for the plant. Simon commits to this one, but 4 players alive as SEN are grouped up with that pack mentality. Emphasis being placed now on Chichu. Second is low enough. He takes that first point, and precision is just unreal. Zelsis barely keep it all together. Dropped down to 48 health. A dart, a flash, all expended into his face, but the job is done. Chiju's done enough. Time taken away. The nade at the feet, isolating the fights away. It's getting tested. It's getting stretched, and nobody takes precisely the right moment to rip away another pistol round.
It looked so dangerous for EDG when Kang made the hero play, trying to cut off the rest of the people in Boba, and Smoggy gets isolated. Both trying to be the heroes their team needed, and it was Chichu that stepped up for 3. He's so solid in these positions. And it has been that supporting class, I think, today. Chichu, Simon, who've been coming up big in moments to put huge rounds on the board. And that's a major one. EDG's attack side actually looked a little bit limper than I was expecting it to against Trace. They almost allowed Trace to make a bit of a comeback. And SEN were kind of slow to adapt on their defense side as well. When we flip halves, you're getting the best of both teams. But for this one, the door's open for somebody to make an improvement over what we saw previously and run away with things. Take the initiative, take the lead so far, TVG.
Not feeling pushed back, honestly, from all the signs of life. I mean, the knife earlier on did tag onto a bunch of the SEN players. They know that they're stacking still. EDG not willing to be removed from this, but they still have about 50 seconds to work with. So, okay, fault line, refight, out and through with the horns into the back, but they don't really have the guns for the job. Chichu, you can just sidestep most of this. SEN are going to try and dish it out still with these pistols. Tens alive, Sassy follows up, blind. It's a bit delayed and late here from Smoggy. They still want to get active though.
They know that everybody's here. They should be leaving. They should have left ages ago. And now when they finally make the maneuver, Tens is already reading it. He's already in front of them. That could have been a freebie.
Could have been. 11.5. He's waiting precisely to strike where it hurts most. Smoggy dropped down and forced to watch in horror as his team and the rest of the round getting let loose and slipping from their grasp. The plant, I mean, it has to be a safe one from Simon. Tucks it into the back. Sassy trying to get ahead of it. Seeking to delay. He knew the time pressure was of most of importance, but Celsius has been brought into it now, a 1v2. Maybe the nerves can be settled for EDG.
He's had so many chances today, Celsius.
And EDG do not let the round get away from them.
That one was so dangerous. I don't understand the EDG game plan there over in B main. You mentioned it right from the beginning. They knew that there was a stack, and they just wanted to punish it, get the free kills on this side of the map, I guess. Maybe worried because they weren't running that 4-1 default that they usually like to go for, but they didn't have info elsewhere. And I mean, this spot, Tens tucked in that corner, could have been more dangerous than it even was.
Yeah.
They've done damage here, Sentinels, to the EDG economy. There's a bit of an advantage early on, but you still need to convert rounds.
EDG going to be looking, see if they can convert round 3. Of course, the weaponry not going to be ideal because of how many players they did end up losing. Shock darts don't actually break any of this util.
One of the problems that I was having with the way that SEN were playing on this map, they were playing very passive holds on the B site.
Oh, the counting for John.
That's nasty.
Barely peeking out from the pillar, nobody will punish. Horn in through the back though, that is a response by Second. He's want to put some more damage. And herd into these EDG players still out through mid. G2 attempting to pluck some of these players out of the picture. Tens still holding. And the rifle aim is dead. Not enough to escape though. Ghost. The supplement of the fire by Smoggy does manage to trade that one out. Nade, it's out, but it does miss. Off to the side, Sassy sticking. Anything else to push this one back needs to be defended. Second, he can't really let this one loose. Still it's half already onto the board. And the mid flanks and the fight from main. Damage is done. Value gain, potentially a round win at that. Fight forced out. Second with a tap, but he is traded in the end. Nobody. Bulldog primed onto it.
Yeah, with the light weaponry. Bulldogs, Guardians, EDG win a bonus. This is a massive beginning to the map. EDG knocking the economy immediately of SEN. The opener, huge. John wasn't really contesting like that in the previous match when we saw them play from Sunset. But Tens also getting caught in mid is so rough for a player that's been spectacular. He just only expected the single mid lurk, which is pretty reasonable, but getting caught in that spot allowed Smoggy to sneak in.
It is a dream opening for EDG.
Couldn't ask for better.
It's all about keeping it moving, keeping it going.
And they've turned it around massively from the kind of opening they had on Haven, where they lost 7 rounds in a row after Pistol.
Resilience is showcased. EDG willing to take a step back here, but Kang might be regretting that one. Offset here, overdrive is available. Flash through into the back. That's Simon looking to hold his own ground against this. Smoke dominated, nobody's still trying to command that position. But he falls, Simon will have to retreat now. His back's against the wall, Smoggy defending at least a portion of it. Aftershock into the corner. Tenuous here for EDG, but they still have those rifles. It's going to be a big advantage working potentially for them. Picked up with the upgrades. John QT fires straight back at them. And the bait and switch leaping into the fight. Taking no prisoners. Sentinels really had no right winning that.
A complete MasterCard Thrifty coming out from SEN. Tens on the high ground with a Sheriff. Pops off a beautiful opener to deny Kang. And from there, that first pick, creating opportunities for Zekken to go forwards, allow others to pick up rifles.
Way to play.
The Neon once more forging a path forwards.
Can I have a phone book?
And just like that, Sen back in a little bit of control here. It's only nobody that can afford to be able to get a rifle online. The ults are good from EDG, and I'm sure they'd invest if they got the opportunity. This is more what Sen were doing on their defense side, though, last we saw them. 4-player stacks on the A side, leave one person B. It was very easy for their opponents to just waltz into the B site and take that room.
Yeah, market splits were deadly when DRX were playing against them.
Absolutely.
Up through mid 2. You might see some adjustments. I mean, we already kind of are seeing evidence of it, I suppose.
We are, yeah.
Trip up top section of mid, so nobody really has to watch it. They've got a cam late in market to take the contact of this one. They spot him, nobody. Past it.
The cam's always going to get cleared there because people are always watching for 10s on top of the box.
Yeah, it's a spot that he loves.
And this time, it's the same kind of hole in Sen's defense. And so that means that they're forced to play a lot of B retakes.
There's danger here.
There is, even with full rifles for Sentinels, there is danger because these B-lane post plants are so overpowered on
Kill
Sunset.
trips. I mean, nobody's got an ult. He's already getting into position. Be able to play this one. And Sen don't have a lot of time to work with. Kill trips. Chewing up these players, rooted into spot from Sentinels. They've got to find a way to navigate it. Sassy, diffusing, sticking, reveal up, Hunter's Fury, Sassy! My God! It's down to the wire, down to the brink, half earned! But Zelsis is the last chance for him! The gang will not let it slip!
EDG answer back instantly with another thrifty of their own. Barely any weaponry brought into that round. And that's exposed a gaping hole in what Sentinels are doing on this map on their defense side. I said both of these teams have put up really strong performances on Sunset before. That's once the halves flip. And we see EDG defending, Sen attacking. This is not good enough from Sen if they want to be able to get that 5-day break and head up into the upper bracket.
Bar for bar with a worse and weaker weaponry. Each turning themselves around here. Now Sen are in that tough position. They've still managed to scramble together some sort of a buy, but down 3 rounds, EDG got their sights set on the finish line in this series. Breaking past their prior performances and ceilings.
Applying a little bit of mid pressure here. EDG are the kind of team on their attack side that will pressure the very top of mid, look to try to lurk Kang in or see if they can pull off Shishu, finding some space, contesting where Zelsis is currently stood. So you can understand why Sentinels still have 3 players in kind of passive positions towards top mid here. Is anyone going to be able to control the back side of B?
Not playing the Cypher offside, John QT. They get caught. No command emanating out, that means the trips go online too. We're hoping to play some kill trip setups as well.
And they drop off. Tens was thinking about trying to get his backside there, and the rest of his team wasn't willing.
Once more, Sen are going to be tested. This time, we're trying to hold on for these retakes as well. Nobody. The first point of contact. Moves the one, the trade online out of Nightfall. Scatters his way through, in through the main angle. Noise. Cut away. Zekken with the defuse, but he's pushed back from some form of the util. Overdrive popped off. Kang! Goodness me! Tears them to pieces. TP up and over. Tenstat is precise. And he's got to be keen, surgical, whipping his way through and behind. He's going to try and defend this one. So QT brought down, but a half earned. There's a chance and a potential. G2 flips the sight. And all expectations once more. Sen just too slow with his retake attempts. And EDG are so willing to run rings around them.
Not just too slow, but far too passive. Again, the same problem that we witnessed last time when Sen played against DRX. They're just giving the site for free. It's free plants over here on B. We set it up, this half was going to be an opportunity for either team to grasp hold early and come out with either prep or individual form to be able to run away with this first half. And the story's going to flip once we go into round 13, but for now, EDG are building up a phenomenal advantage. A 5-1 lead At no point really in this match have we seen EDG in complete control. Even on Lotus, there were moments of it, but SEN always found ways of striking back. This feels very different.
His dominance calls into question as well. You know, how much can you correct from one match to the other? SEN, it's been astounding, I think, the work that they put in to shore up their map pool and their own, I suppose, form coming into the event, because like we said at the beginning of this series, at the beginning of this event, I mean, it was looking poor from them. They just weren't looking like they were in a trophy lifting form. This, though, from EDG, they spotted the weaknesses, and they have called into question whether or not SEN can shore up the gaps that were on display, that were pried open by DRX.
But I also think if you're going to make that argument that SEN, their form didn't look great, and it's good what they've done to shore up the map pool, Sunset was actually always towards the top of their map pool, and it has been all year. So the fact that this is now the map causing them problems, going to be disappointing. Looking to try to catch Chishu off guard there early on. He does sometimes default in that bottom spot, but EDG are fast with the help and quick with the escape.
And all it takes is a slow default.
Take flight.
Make sure nobody oversteps themselves. Drawn by nobody.
And a re-clear through B main here as well. Looking to try to put pressure once again onto Chishu.
Spot on the one, shock dance flying forwards. Again, the setup is not over towards that direction, but a fight one out with Sassy dropped. Open access now towards the A site.
A sharp from Smoggy.
Kill trips though. Doesn't have the gun for the job, it's just damage. Chews up Kang. Not enough to deliver the kill. John QT's going to be kicking himself.
There are isolated players around here. Nobody's isolated. Chishu is as well, but they're getting good lurk timing.
Yeah, great lurk timings. At that, the trade might be a little bit more impressive there from Zelsis. The fact that he does that with the classic in hand, but he won't be able to get much more. Done from the edge. I mean, Zekken. He glides, hoping to use the precision. Maybe land a kill there, but it's all being covered.
Kang picks up 10s in mid and picks up the 6th on the board for EDG. But the tactical timeout that SEN took, the panic button that Kaplan hit, was for this round coming up, round 8. It wasn't for the Thrifty particularly. So what is the change up here? How are they going to adjust their defensive setups? Personally, I'd like to see 10s posted on the A line. You have an Omen with outrageous gun skill, and you're not playing him on an aggressive line towards A regularly, if at all. He tends to be over towards market, and you leave that job to like Sassy with the Prowlers. It's quite backwards compared to how most teams are doing it. They're going to get Zekken posted there as well, and he's mighty fierce.
And this is the typical setup. Sentinel's going for it. They have nothing to watch market or top mid. This was getting exploited towards the end of the map by DRX when Sentinels were going up against them.
And I said that EDG love doing this kind of thing. Probing, seeing if they can get Kang or Chishu into this kind of spot. Does SEN deal with it?
Zelsis is in position. It's going to be a fault line off the back of that with Zekken, I should say. Collecting that first kill. No noise made.
I mean, they can hear the neon through spawn.
From EDG's part of things, Kang punishes it. All the footsteps pointing towards it. Rolling Thunder is to try and shore up, stem the bleeding.
Yeah,
stop it in its tracks.
You can't follow up on that. That's just to stop EDG from running away with the round. That's purely for map control, the breach ult.
It just feels frantic from Sentinels at this point.
But at least TenZ is in an anchor position. They're actually looking to hold back B site this time.
Paranoia groups its way forwards here. There's 38 seconds to play with. Only mid-control for EDG.
And nobody's calling a pivot back to the A side, putting stress on Sassy. He's still got Horn, Seas, ways of slowing this down.
Sassy will be in hot water. Now to him, the util, the gun into his hand, whether or not he can push this back. Dodging, sidestepping, most of the util gives up access to the site, but as long as he hold on to elbow control, and he can't even do that. Chichu comes around the corner like an absolute Ferrari. Celsius will punch it right back. Kang flatlined and dropped. 3 versus 3 is where we stand. The pressure now on to SEN for this retake, all grouped up. Cam broken. Nobody noted. Smoke in their faces, spamming, spraying away, trying to pave the way to success for Sentinels. They need RNG on their side. Only the one, and they're just getting collected, corralled into the corner.
7-1 devastation for Sentinels. EDG were forced to actually mid-round in this round. They were forced to make the correct decision and pivot. They weren't just given a free B plant. And this showcases that they're capable of still winning, even if SEN make the right adjustments. Even if SEN shore up that B defense and don't just play retake the whole time. Nobody's calling. And it's Franklin, he's 11 and 4, taking them through and sailing them to clear waters. SEN have got another chance here, another rifle round before their economy is smashed against the rocks again. But it almost seems too far gone at this point. It would have to be an outrageous comeback, almost all 4 rounds really.
It's evident, I think, from the second timeout being used by SEN.
Yeah, and that's very similar to what they did on Lotus. They burnt through both of their timeouts in the first half very early on, and they weren't able to close things out towards the end, even after they'd rallied a little.
To speak on EDG, this is a team that feeling downtrodden, I think, off the back of the international events of this year. They saw other teams in their own region even overtaking them, going to greater heights than them at these tournaments. But this is validation and vindication almost as well for this squad, as we've already been mentioning. EDG have only ever known these 5-6 finishes as the peak of international play. A win here not just sails them forwards deeper in through that upper bracket, but it grants them one of the highest finishes at minimum that they've ever had at a global international tournament.
And the more they win like this, the more you believe that they could go further.
How far can they go? Sky might be the limit for this squad. For now, all the question leveled at Sentinels of whether or not they can stop this EDG squad, who are just empowered, fired up, resilience on full display from steamrolling over them.
The change-up here in the defensive setup is not large, but they've tucked TenZ and John Cutie into market, anticipating a B split. And it does look like that's what EDG are cooking up.
I'm spotting it. Fault line slowing them down here. It's a refight called Sentinels. They want to get straight into the fight. Clash called for, and 1 out. Kankang might have something to say about it. Brings it to the 2 versus 3. Spike still dropped down to the bottom section. The squeeze of SEN, they have full control over towards mid. Will take heroics, and with the damage done, weakened up, Kankang cannot stand against most of it. Nobody. Trying to play bait and switch as well, taking that fight. Backstep in, hoping he can isolate at least one of them, but the crossfire setup should be intact. Foolproof from Sentinels at this point as well. Baits that peak. Seeing if he can spot these players out. Finally, Zekken will take the fight anyway.
And so SEN finds some success coming out of that tag timeout. The adjustment didn't look enormous, so EDG went into it thinking same old, same old. But a great call there from Zekken and Zelsis. Instead of holding it top mid passively, they throw some utility in and crunch mid, finding tons of EDG players that turned into corpses there.
We're back, we are back. Let's get 5, gang, let's get 5.
If they were able to get 5, they certainly would be back.
Morale though, high spirits from the Sentinels players. Handshake with a util. Either side really taking too much space.
And the same defensive setup again. John, TenZ in market.
Nobody ever reclear, Zekken.
That is difficult to do. The box is super spammable. Hard to get out in that kind of area, but Zekken barely takes a tickle.
Well, now util being used, including the flash as well. It's a pretty big indicator to EDG. Most of the players stacked over from SEN over towards A main. And surely they don't overstep themselves. They're going for another fight as well. Contact plays on contact plays.
A massive fight in A. EDG are trying to make it feel like they're in mid and bait out this reclear from SEN.
And they're just holding for the peak. What util did they even have as well? Contact cord as well. Full line is late. Celsius. util doesn't help him. It's EDG with the initiative in that fight. And with it, you can sit down and stare at it, but it's a 5 versus 2 scenario. Sentinels have no real chance back into this round.
Their economy is not in a terrible spot. If TenZ and John were any closer to the action, they might give it a try. But EDG have outplayed them again. The story of this half early on was SEN giving away too many opportunities, but now that they're playing a little bit of a better game, EDG are just pulling it back out of their grasp. The call in there from nobody is so strong. Faking like they're doing the same stuff. Throwing that same market util. And John, he is not holding on to this weapon. He's got players behind and in front. They're going to drain every last drop out of the SEN economy. Austerity is here, and it's coming for SEN.
Don't want to hear that.
EDG are playing a beautiful game right now on their attack side.
It is. It's truly great.
I don't think we're getting the best out of Sentinels, right? But at the same time, they are trying to adapt. They are trying to throw in different things. And EDG only takes them one moment, and they've figured out a counter to it.
Yeah.
They're playing SEN like a fiddle.
And at this point, it's like an avalanche crashing down onto the Sentinel squad. They have to go for, again, proactivity. But Paranoia just plays straight through main, and it immediately diffuses all that tension, the play that Sentinels were going for to see if they can collect a kill.
The defensive util has been remarkably good from EDG today. Always there with Kangkang's stun to stop aggression like that. Paranoia too. They're the team that doesn't have breach, so they don't have the fault line or the aftershock. You might think they'd be weak to plays like that, but look, they found the gap again.
Yeah, it's another read. As soon as they hear that the Neon's in through mid being played into that, they know that they're not going for the typical A main hold that Sentinels like to do. They know that they're going to be playing off-site, trying to go for the retakes. So EDG can take their time with it, contact most of the way. The trips will not be oh, as I say that, I wasn't expecting them to get Valley. They spotted them out onto the corner. Still John takes down Smoggy, drops him to the floor.
Spike planted.
So overall coming through onto these guys. Look at those pings. Look at the angle that nobody's going to have.
And they're ready to fight this one right as the retake is occurring. Tags up into a few of these players. Hunter's Fury has to be dodged and juked and avoided. Let's skip rope over it. Kang though, still here. Chichu takes up the space, stands tall, stands strong, and will not be denied anything at all. It's a monstrous performance from many individuals on EDG, but full credit to the entirety of this squad.
Every part of their game is on today. The players are stepping up. This map, Chishu's come out of nowhere to just be outrageous. The prep work too. The
so
calling
good
from nobody. It looked like a very rough beginning to today. If you had only been paying attention to the first map, certainly the first half of the first map, you'd be thinking, uh-oh, EDG.
Yeah.
They've beaten some weaker opponents, some struggling opponents, but SEN are here to shut them down. Well, that story has changed massively over the course of this match. They're dominating Sunset.
Just one more round left in the half. That's all SEN have to work with, and it's the difference between 9-3 or 10-2. Either way you slice it is bad.
Zelsis has his ult online. It looks like they want to play a more aggressive defensive B.
Oh, trying to send it. As soon as Simon uses his ult, that's the trigger to try and slow them down, but there will be no follow-up. And Chichu, my God! This guy, he won't be denied. Playing in through Kang. He's hungry for more. There's blood in the water sense, but punishment in sight. Assassi will drop him eventually. Down to his knees, but it's still EDG in control. Backside players, B main still theirs. We've seen SEN perform miracles, but this, just a little too unlikely. When EDG are setting up pop players like this, contesting, squeezing SEN for absolutely every inch of space, there is no chance in hell for them here. The map is in their hands, the palms of these EDG players, they can feel it.
The anticipation that must be going through them. The stress and the pressure as they get to this halftime, realizing they are on the cusp of making history for China.
History for China and breaking past their limits. It's all going to be decided on the next half of this. falling under the eye as well of some of the fans. The home crowd, though, this time is fully cheering them on. They're empowering them. I can feel it. There's a certain energy in the air right now that EDG are about to cross this boundary, this line that they've been pushed back, prevented from over and over again at prior events. This time, though, maybe Champs 2024 is the time to strike for China.
And it didn't look like this was even going to be EDG's year.
No.
Their performances at Madrid and at Shanghai in front of their own home
dismal,
crowd.
man. It was dismal.
It was really poor. And yeah, they've made this adjustment, changed the coaching staff, brought in new blood to the team, changed their IGL structure as well. And nobody deserves tons of credit because he's calling on the attack side here on Sunset. Remarkably good for a newcomer who had only done some like mid-rounding and secondary calling in the past. Sentinels have a mountain to climb.
We've heard the phrase, one round at a time is going to have to be the case here for Sentinels. Being pushed back immediately. Signs of resistance, EDG are holding this one. Plenty of players now to try and take this contact and take these fights. Names stricken off the record with nobody leading it for his team. And they want even more. Not content with just laying claim to just a few tens. Drop down, pistol round for EDG.
What a fragger! Nobody's there. Sova, 16 kills, up at the top of the scoreboard with Jishu, calling a beautiful game and playing one too. They've just driven the final nail in the coffin, surely, for Sen's chances. If there was any hope of a 10-2 comeback, it had to come off the back of the pistol round. There's going to be a force coming out here for the attacking team. But they didn't even really get that many kills. The plant money, like, this is odds and ends. A final desperate jump forwards from Sen. And EDG are going to be happy to collect.
Sentinels banking everything on this round, of course. You have no other option. No room to breathe. Fault line's good though, Chichu with the cage to cover. His own cross here. Does give up access over towards B, so full side control plan going down and through the back of the sides! Oh my! Chichu, the util, just augments the hold and puts the squeeze on the Sentinels team. But listen, they've been battered and bruised before, but not quite like this. They have to barrel their own way past it, but with subpar weaponry and one left alive second, Miracle to ask for. Picks up the weapon, but not long again for the world and the round. A 12th is gained and granted. EDG are on the precipice.
When they woke up today, these EDG players would have dared to dream that they'd be in a spot winning this match, heading themselves to a minimum top 3 at Champions. I don't think any of them would have even imagined a stomp like this to finish.
Wow.
Up 12-2. They can take an eco here. They have no reason to buy up in this round. Wait for a better opportunity, try to do a bit of chip damage to Sen's economy.
Yeah.
You could even bank up a bunch of ults and just try to finish things out in one glorious moment.
No stress at all. Outlaw in the hands of Kang Kang. Slowed all the way down, and Zekin's desperate for the kill. Does hunt it down, but EDG are going to be hot on the heels of all these players. The 4-player flank. Ready and waiting to pounce on any of these players. Zelda to just the one before he's dropped, but info given up over to them. Tens now with that task. Challenge ahead of him. Players ready to fall here. G2 responds, returns with a fire. Just puts that scare one final moment there into Sentinels.
How much determination still exists within these Sen players. They look focused, they look locked in. Surely it's not manageable. 9 rounds, 9 opportunities for EDG to get a big moment from Jishu. Nobody. A Kangkang round coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Ults online. Smokey's one away already from the Hunter's Fury. Only in round 16.
There's a reason why we call comebacks in this particular spot an impossibility. Listen, I'm no stranger to that word. We use it often. EDG with rifles in hand, well trained now onto all these spots. The Prowler, it's an opportunity, but immediately defensive util. We were pointing it out, the Paranoia is perfect to push back. There's pressure applied onto these EG anchoring players and still trying to take the fight up through the cut. Different directions here, still beaming them down. Simon dropped to his knees, maybe handed them over that weaponry in all tens. Collecting the kills off through the flank, overdrive. Finds his mark. The tracking is immense. So Sentinels will be able to stay alive a little bit longer.
And the pathing is great. Sen's attack side is fantastic on Sunset. There's no denying that. No pretending that Sentinels are weak here, but they did not get to play their favored side. And they stacked up only 2 rounds on defense. That's why the comeback looks impossible. Not because Sen are bad. You can see the way that they deathball together, trade out second perfectly, and have that little fake.
Nice.
Into the Boba pressure, into the mid push. They've got good ideas here, but it only takes one.
And how many times have we seen the comeback dealt with, taken away just from the hands of weaker weaponry? All the pressures on Sen, man, and it is. There's no room to breathe. There's no buffer in place for Sen.
You just let off the gas pedal for a moment, thinking you've got the eco advantage, not wanting to show a specific strat, save it for a better rifle round, save it all, and suddenly it can come crashing down. But Sen have found their way into the A side fairly early on here.
The sound cues are going to be found! My God! Kang, he's doing them dirty now. Can't quite gain a rifle, but picking apart the Sen players. The offense, the attack, the aggression is met. Tens has to answer, and will do just that!
What a 3K! Stuffed into a corner. It was all down to nobody. Look prime and ready in a 5v3 for EDG to close out. But it seems unlikely that it will be this round that takes EDG forwards. Tens, what a monster. He's just saved his team.
Yeah.
But
definition, man, of matters into your own hands.
They will need so many of those moments, and in more difficult spots than that.
That's when EDG don't have the money to put together a buy, but you can feel it how free-flowing EDG are. Eviscerating most of the players as they were trying to exit onto the site here. One round at a time is what Sen are going to be repeating to themselves.
And they did force out that Hunter's Fury from nobody, so they're making things marginally easier. And this one is massive.
Door's going to be teared down almost immediately. Back into a slow, cautious play by Sentinels across the map.
The one-way posted over towards A. Paranoia as backup, baiting off Kang's contact. These are the kind of things that Sen didn't really have going to help that A defense. Does it get broken by Sassy?
Bring them down.
Over the Prowler. Util used too, but it's Paranoia immediately going forward. Chichu! This is his area, this is his domain. But he is cleaned up nevertheless. Chopped up into pieces and spitting them all the way out. Nobody seeking to plug those gaps. Will go down as a result of it. 4 players still left to stand here by Sen, but chances for EDG still. Flash is good, crossing back in through main. EDG not able to catch any of them. This is the crosshair placement, but they are rapidly now getting themselves into position. Onto the site, stun is excellent. Flash though, peek immediately there. Gonna be traded out and over, spraying them down with the rifles. Heroics and a bit of luck at play. EDG are hoping for it. Through the box now. Simon and Smokey. They can't get it done. So once again, it's Sentinels that breathe just the slightest sigh of relief and continue to survive in the series.
4 rounds in a row here collected. If they get another rifle round, you're starting to believe. But there's still tons of danger ahead of them. They still need 6 perfect rounds on their attack. And that's even just to force overtime.
Yeah.
They're not out. They're not out of the woods at that point.
They got to keep it going.
EDG, though, are forced to take their tactical timeout, so they're going to look to adjust something here. Even with Zekken team stunning himself in that market split, they still managed to get the trade out onto Chishu. I think Chishu's going to want to be able to hold on to that area, but he's finding himself getting overwhelmed. EDG are playing a very standard defense to the map, very similar to other great teams here. Teams like Leviathan, for example. Heretics, you know, these kind of teams that have a great understanding of how you want to be pushing and pulling on the defense side, but SEN are still breaking through. It's not that EDG are giving them areas for free. SEN are playing with fire.
Yeah, persistent team too. I mean, they've been in spots like this. Maybe not exactly like this where they're forced to come back, but...
I mean, the beginning of this year in the offseason, they actually pulled off a 10-2 comeback on their attack side on Sunset. That was like the first glimmer at the very beginning of the year that SEN were taking the offseason seriously and looking like they could win games in difficult spots.
Yeah.
That ended up culminating months later in a trophy at Madrid. They can do these kind of things, but it's not consistent, and really, it shouldn't be possible.
On a stage like this as well, when there's never been more pressure. And this is a trap play if I've ever seen one. Paranoia sweeps, stun alongside it, rattling with the Sheriff in hand. Chewing up the Sentinels players. Not many options are available to you, and Celtis, he didn't have a clue. Blinded up, Spike dropped down into the laps of EDG. This is exactly what we were talking about. There is no room to breathe when there's up to 12 rounds. EDG can feel it. Spike picked back up, earned itself. Sassy, a lot to adjust and overcome. Tens is down and out. EDG. They end it all. They take it over that line. And they break past their limits.
What a performance from them. And they finish it on the Thrifty as well. The trap play, the depth of strategy, showcasing even in this final round what has made the difference here for EDG to break through. It's been that prep, the hard work, moving away from the individualism. EDG today taking down the Madrid winners, smiting Sentinels on Sunset. It wasn't close.
Oh no.
And they have pulled down to earth the gods of clout. And SEN spiral to the lower bracket. That 5-day break belongs to EDG, not SEN.
And not just a 5-day break. It's a minimum top 3 finish. It's the best that they've ever done at an international event. It's vindication. It's a reward, it's the light at the end of the tunnel for them, and it's so damn well-deserved, man.
It really is.
Full credit to EDG. The work has been put in, it's showcased.
I think a lot of people were ready to undersell EDG. They got past a struggling Paper Rex, Foot not looking in their best form. I think people, especially when they crushed Trace, were thinking, oh, well, it's just because it was a Chinese team.
Regional matchup.
Regional matchup. They've showed today that they're capable of so much more. And you're right, they've smashed that glass ceiling for China, breaking through the best ever performance for a team from that region. But I think there's more to give for this team.
Yeah.
It's an open tournament. Your teams, the favorites, they were getting smashed out in groups. Gen G, nowhere to be seen. It's possible for teams like EDG to lift a trophy here. It is a wide open tournament.
The sky is the limit for this squad. And it's all starting to pay off. And you wouldn't think it. We already mentioned, you know, the performance from EDG at Shanghai, at Madrid. It was dire, it was dismal. And even watching other Chinese teams overshadowing them earlier on at this event itself in the groups, it looked like the spotlight was going to be shifting away from this squad.
And they've ripped it firmly back. They are in the limelight right now. This is their moment. I said it earlier in the tournament, if you asked EDG, would they rather win in Shanghai or win here at Champs? I think that would be tough for them just because it was in front of a home crowd. But here at Champs, they are doing it.
They are doing it indeed. We're going to set it down to the floor for the Verizon post-match interview.
I'm joined by EDG's Simon and our translator Luna for our post-match interview. 공시 Simon. 네, EDG의 사이먼 선수와의 인터뷰 만나보겠습니다. 로터스의 컴백을 시장으로 패승승, 오늘 센티넬을 상대로 승리를 가져갔는데요. 오늘 처음으로 센티넬과 경기한 소감부터 물어보도록 하겠습니다. You know, you starting with that Lotus comeback, you know, you took the reverse sweep win against Sentinels. So how was it playing against them for the first time?
今天你们在莲花古城就完成了翻盘，并且在整体的比赛上也是完成了一个大翻盘。那你觉得说今天面对到 Sentinels 这场比赛感受怎么样呢？
感觉就是也是挺紧张的吧，就跟他们打，因为他们打赢了兼具第二杀，就是强队。
I think a little bit nervous because they have defeated like DRX, GNG, those really strong teams.
워낙 DRX나 젠지 같은 강팀을 이기고 올라온 센티넬이기 때문에 오늘 좀 처음 경기하는데 긴장했다고 하네요. 근데 오늘 승리로 이제 결승 직행전에 EDG가 진출하게 됐습니다. 그리고 이게 또 중국 지역 기록 경신인데 사이먼 선수는 팀에 합류하자마자 기록 경신에 이렇게 하면서 좀 잘하는 만큼 부담감도 계속 커질 것 같습니다. You know, after upper finals, and this also broke the SEN League record, top 4, right? But you know, as much as you're doing well, I feel like I want to ask, like, how are you handling the pressure?
你表现的也是非常非常棒嘛，而且我们现在也是突破了我们SEN赛区的一个记录，我们进入到4强了。那你是怎么来应对在比赛当中的这些紧张的呢？
Let's think.
就专注在游戏里，对。
That's all. Focus on winning the games.
Oh, that's it. Just focus.
Focus.
And keep winning.
Focus the game content.
그냥 이렇게 뭐 집중하면서 부담감을 좀 조율하고 있다고 합니다. EDG의 사이먼 선수와의 인터뷰 만나봤습니다. Thank you, Simon and Luna. Congratulations, 공시 again. All right, we'll be back shortly for our second match of the day. Bye, y'all.
Prolific teams from China and the Americas clash on this stage for the very first time, and the winner locks up top 3 in one of the most exciting and pivotal VALORANT tournaments of all time.
And Smoggy's right back in there. The Paranoia is already sent out. A preemptive Outlaw in the hands of 140. Zekken down to the double digits, but still alive for now. Glides to the side. It's for the upgrades. Hunter's Fury scatters through. Fights to be taken by EDG. That could be set up for success on most of it. Sprayed down. Leaving it just down to 10. He's doing damage right through the wall. Isolates the 1 for bullets. Oh boy!
A great opener from SEN. A squad that are just getting scarier and scarier.
Satchel to save the day, and Sassy. And it just feels like there's no hope at this point for EDG.
They're going to make it look like they're re-clearing onto rubble.
And trying to push his players back. What is that from nobody? Onto the back of the side here, but as the smokes dissipate, Smoggy, EDG will not be denied a chance for greatness. Second, slow enough, he takes our first point, and precision is just unreal. Overdrive popped off, Kang! Whipping his way through and behind, he's going to try and defend this one. So QT brought down, but it happened. There's a chance and a potential. Chi-Chu, and skip rope over it. Kang though, still here. Chi-Chu takes up the space, stands tall, stands strong, and will not be denied. EDG, they end it all. They take it over that line. And they break past their limits.
like I'm Tyrion and chainmail. Give me exhale, see the jaw drop, face smile like a bass head. Libra scale, balance both sides, and she do it well, so well, so well, yeah. Raymond, ducking from the sun, doing okay then. All these feelings bottled inside like a house dog. Bounty on the elbow, she'll get out the house, move, playing off the foul ball. You can stick around, girl. Bring fire from her world, I'm trying. I'm lost, only murmurs. Find time, yeah, find time. Unsure, staying for the summer. Bring fire from her world, I'm trying. I'm lost, only murmurs. Find time if she's unsure. Find time, staying for the summer. Quiet, lonely, nobody told me. Drifting aside, yeah, running away. Soon as you got those new nights. Soon as you got those new nights. Busy cutting the checks, I'm used to cutting the ties. Okay, pull up your pants, okay. Remember them rolling eyes, how they are fans, okay. Hanging from grapevines, she want the juice now. She want it all right. Get it from you now. Get it from you now. Little girl, drifting aside. Drifting aside. On the same road, on the same, on the same road, on the same road, on the same. Bring fire from her world, I'm trying. I'm lost, only murmur. Find time if she's unsure. Find time, staying for the summer.
Welcome back to day 4 of Champions Seoul playoffs and our second match of the day. Leviathan going up against Team Heretics, and there you can see some sights from the Fan Fest just outside of the venue. And let me tell you, I've worked in a lot of venues in my life, and this is probably one of the more unique ones, tucked away in the middle of a skyscraper in beautiful Seoul. But we have everyone's out there. Wingman's melting. It's great.
We're not in a skyscraper. We're connected to one.
It feels like we're connected. It feels like we're in a skyscraper. It's a big building.
It is a really big building.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a super cool venue. Amazing. It is extremely cool. And wait until we go to the next venue.
Leave it to Mimi to just tell me the facts of where we are within cities. Anyway.
It's my one big thing.
It's your one big thing, and that's, you know what? I'm happy for you, dog. All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into today's matchup and our next matchup. But before we do that, though, I do want to congratulate EDG. That's an amazing achievement, but let's now focus on the here and now. We have Leviathan, we have Heretics, and Leviathan got here off of some really, unique compositions because, Mimi, guess what? We're the only region that uses Harbor like this.
Yeah, and Leviathan, I think, is the only team who is playing it at this level. They played Harbor in both the maps they showed, and I think it looked super clean. G2's read on Abyss was really focused on their attack side of getting into these set post plants and just cringing it out, which is a good strategy on this map. But I think the Harbor comp really well countered that. Leviathan's retakes looked absolutely on point. The coordination of the team was impeccable. This was the match you kind of needed to reinstill confidence for Leviathan.
Totally, and thinking about the Harbor, now with the opponent that they have today, thinking about Team Heretics, in EMEA, we barely see the Harbor. It is true, though, that internationally they have gotten those reps, and it is not going to come off as a surprise, right? But we are not a region in EMEA that actually love the Harbor. I mean, the couple of times that we've seen it, it has rarely ended up in a win.
You don't like water. I don't get it. You don't like water.
I know.
That's so fair. But I still do think there's a pervasive kind of notion that Leviathan is a team that wins off the individualism, and Osboss or Tex are going to have a crazy game, and that is definitely true sometimes. Don't get me wrong. But that game against G2, they outcalled one of the most strategic, macro-focused teams we have here at Champions Seoul, and I think doing that is real proof for the depth that this roster has.
I'm going to give you 50% of that because there were rounds where G2's mistakes were too big. And I will give that to Lev for capitalizing on those. But I will repeat myself. I think that one of the big things from that game, especially the Icebox, is that you did not need Aspas to win that game. Even though it was Icebox, even though, you know, he's going to have so much support. There were so many plans, so many layers to that. And that is what you're going to need. You're going to need a comp that is on this form, because comparing the results and the stats that he was having during the year to how he's performing here at Champs, especially in playoffs, it's a different beast, Mimi.
It's really important. When they won, EG that is, at Champions last year, Kong was playing great. That's when he was defining who he is, going for the flank every round, making history at that event. And I think people, when they were watching him in Americas, were like, oh, he's on a big fall off, he's not playing well, how did this guy win a championship? And let's be real, he wasn't playing great in a lot of those games. But he has found his individual form and really peaked individually at the right times for this roster. In Stage 2 playoffs, and now here at Champions Seoul as well. Him having these performances is absolutely massive for Lev's success.
It was a bit of a, you know, controversial situation coming into the year when Com gets picked up on this team. Everyone's like, whoa, what's going on? It happened so suddenly. But I think it's safe to say the reason why you go after a player like Com is because he has that impact potential. He's won a world championship because of that impact potential that he brings to the table. And Mimi, quite frankly, I think he's lived up to his side of the bargain, getting the team this far alongside the rest of the squad.
Yeah, this entire Leviathan project was controversial. I mean, they moved away from being a Latin American squad. A lot of the fans weren't on board, and they dropped one of their, at that time, 3 Latin American players to pick up Com from North America and bring him over onto the roster. And people really didn't like the move at first, but I think his addition to this team, he's really proved why they took that risk and made that last-minute change.
Couldn't agree more. Well, let's actually go ahead and hear from our champion, Sova, shall we? And his competition today, because we actually have Com and Rian standing by with Yinsu.
It's not every day that I get the opportunity to be next to 2 Sova gods, Com and Rian. So I wanted to take advantage of this situation and ask you guys a little bit about Sova. First of all, what are your thoughts of this agent in the meta right now?
I think it's like one of the strongest agents in the meta right now. Like, you could play Sova in any map, in my opinion. Like, every map, it's fine. So yeah, it's pretty strong.
You having a good time as well with Sova right now?
Yeah, I would say like Sova has probably been the most consistent initiator over like all the metas. And then also, as he said, like same thing. I feel like if you're a good Sova, you can kind of make it work on every map.
Right, but you two are the best Sovas I feel like we have in this tournament, maybe in the world as well. When it comes to lineups, have you ever stolen a lineup from the other? Com, I'll start with you.
I've stolen like 1 or 2 on Sunset, got some good stuff, you know. Gotta take advantage of the rookie coming in this year, you know. He got some good stuff, gotta take it.
I respect that. And what about you, Riaz?
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen any from Com, but I believe like he's actually like one of the best Sovas in the world, obviously.
All right, you're going to have to show him some today. You got to show him some. And lastly, how do we become Sova gods like you guys? Give me one piece of advice.
Try to play for your team as much as possible. Set up your team for success. I mean, that's the main basis of Sova. And if you have that, then I think you can achieve like anything with Sova.
Sounds doable. What about you, Rians?
I think if you're already a pro player in tier 2 or 3, like all you need to do just practice it in ranked as much as you can, because people underestimate the ranked, in my opinion, because that's the only place that you can improve your mechanics, you know? So like play your agents in ranked and you will improve.
Oh, you heard it from them. I can't wait to see this battle on the server. Good luck today.
We, of course, are talking about 2 of the best Sovas in the game, and they're going to be going toe-to-toe against one another here, and I'm excited to see them clash in the server.
I still remember when Rians was not in our region because he was still in Turkey, and he would grind, so what he says about ranked is 100% true. Like, this kid grinded so freaking hard that he's gotten to where he is today.
Yeah, you got to put in that work, you know what I mean? And when you put in that work, the results pay off, and who knows, maybe one day someone's watching a stream right now, they playing Sova could end up on that stage. You never know. But speaking of, though, players, young players who find themselves on stage and now on the precipice of greatness, you also have, well, Miniboo. And actually, a tale of 2 Miniboos here, because what's really fascinating about this, Mimi, is that Miniboo started off in the groups, was a little, you know, weak, was a little quiet, but then in the playoffs, I really felt like, really just came online.
Yeah, he was really rough in the group stage. I think we saw some moments on stage where honestly it looked like he was kind of freezing up, taking some risks that he wouldn't normally, missing some shots he wouldn't normally, and I think that probably has to come down to nerves. He's a young player. He wasn't with them when they went on their run in Shanghai, and now he's coming into the biggest event of the year. But what matters is that his team had him, and they got him to the playoffs, and here he has stepped up big time and found that form he was showing back home in Europe.
I think also another big thing about Miniboo is that especially at the beginning of the year when everybody was praising him for very good reasons, he was playing a lot of the Neon, right? He was so impressive and such a pain in the ass to play against. You would hear that from every single player that had been competing for years, that playing against him, it was very complicated. But throughout this tournament, still, we have not seen him picking up that agent. We saw some changes here and there, but I feel like he needs that kind of confidence to bring up his A game.
Yeah, and that's true, right? But as you had mentioned, he's got that support system behind him, right? And they all know how to dig themselves out of hole. Like, for example, right, we could talk about round 24 on Abyss from that Fnatic match that we saw. And, you know, Heretics, right, doing a great job of really stopping the bleeding and giving themselves a fighting chance and winning.
Yeah, Fnatic was going back into the game. They knew exactly how to take it far, to take it to that third map after that crushing defeat on the first map. But when we think about that round and that superiority that Fnatic already had, getting the kills, how Rians just brings everything back, how they managed to take it always one step forward.
Yeah, I mean, this game was a masterclass from Team Heretics to start. Map number 1 was so dominant up against Fnatic. I don't think anyone could have seen it going this way. They were playing at their peak, and then they almost let it slip. But well, Team Heretics is defined by the preset stuff, by how good boost calling is. They do have rounds like this, and this tournament, it has almost all been about Rians and how massive he has been in those clutch moments. Remember, this team is mostly made up of rookies. This is Rian's first year playing at Tier 1. These are his first international events, and this is his first Champions playoffs. And he's putting up rounds like that against a team who has done it all on these stages.
The thing is, when you think about a Tier 2 in EMEA, and you think about the teams that compete in some of the leagues, some of these kids are cracked. Like, you would see them play, and on an individual level, you cannot beat them. And this is where they spend most of their time developing their service as players. So if you already have that individual level and you put a staff behind like Neil and Weber and you get an IGL like Boo, it is impossible that you do not get this result.
Yeah, it is truly, truly impressive that what we've seen from this Heretics lineup. But for more on that win over Fnatic, here's actually the IGL Boo with an Omen player moment.
Hello, my name is Boo and I'm playing for Team Heretics. I think the whole game felt really good, except for Abyss defense. There were some rounds that we had, it was criminal to lose, I would say, but we did. And yeah, I mean, it cost us like, you know, overtime and stuff, but once we got the last round and got overtime, I knew we were gonna win it. So yeah, in general, it's a good feeling for sure, like getting to top 6, no losses, amazing.
Spike they go, looking to achieve at least half. They're going to get that, but then now there needs to be a fight back here. Wait, he's still there, he's still defusing. Gets half, Benji! I told you this guy can clutch. Oh, and he's still doing it! Almost all himself, and they fall!
I think when people rank IGLs or coaches especially, like nobody knows. Only inside the team people know what they actually do. Only people that play with them can actually, you know, say it objectively. But I'm not looking to become the best IGL. I'm looking to become better IGL than I am right now. It's just about improving and learning. So next time it's gonna be better. And like even if we will win or something, like it's not gonna stop. I hope that the hunger to improve is not gonna stop.
And you know, when you talk about how Everyone, no one knows, right? Like where to go. I went with Heretics. I feel like they're playing some of the best Valorant right now. Like they dig deep. So that's why I went with Heretics.
During the entirety of China, I voted against Heretics. It took them to the final. So the other day, I promised Benji that I would keep doing that and it would take them to the final as well. So I'm never predicting an EMEA team again. I'm just saying that.
I think it's a close game, but I think that Lev are almost guaranteed to get to play Icebox this series, where they have looked uncontested against the other teams here at Champions.
Yeah.
And I think the rest of the pool is likely to be really close. And with the massive amount of experience on this Leviathan roster and the form they showed their last game, I have them edging it out, but I mean, Team Heretics is playing some damn good Valorant right now.
And a lot on the table, a lot to prove. Remember, winning here takes you to that top 3, and both of these teams won that more than anything.
We already saw EDG make history. Can Heretics do it again? Can Leviathan push forward? Let's go ahead and bring out the teams and get this match started.
Leviathan. Team Heretics.
It's a classic Americas versus EMEA battle, but it's also much more than that. For Heretics, it's an opportunity for them to get right back to where they were after Shanghai, at the top of the mountain. And then for Leviathan, let's not forget, this is a team with 2 world champions, and on top of that, they're here to try and push further and further. But Kakuka, we see the series layout. You got Icebox, you have Lotus, and then you have Haven right at the end.
Are we all living in the same world? Did Heretics second ban Sunset?
They're cooking. I have a feeling they're cooking. I have a feeling they're cooking.
It has to be something related to cooking.
Chef
Definitely
Benji.
Some questions are going to need some answers.
Chef Boo, actually. Chef Boo is cooking. All right, that's what I want to believe.
They have to have some kind of plan cooked up. They do not play Haven very often. The last time in the lower final of EMEA, lost to Vitality. They've never had outstanding performances on that map. So there has to be something prepared there. But where we're starting is Icebox, and this is home territory for Leviathan.
And you said we were going to see it, more than likely.
This might mean that Minibo goes on that Neon, because they did change the composition when we moved on to the playoffs. Maybe this is the time to swap things around. Maybe it's a change of tempo for him as well.
For Icebox or for Haven? For Icebox.
Oh, sorry.
No, but good call, though. Good call. I mean, that is fascinating. And honestly, this is really just going to be quite interesting to see how this breaks down. What is the game plan for Heretics, I guess, in the long term?
It's going to be interesting to see. Leviathan has been so nebulous this year. It's impossible to place their form.
It really is.
When you think they're going to be great, they flop. That's what happened in Shanghai. Going out in the first round for a squad so many...
But then they win America's Stage 2, they win playoffs, and you're like, this team looks like the best team in the world.
But by contrast, Team Heretics with a sub at that very same event, Masters Shanghai.
It didn't feel like it.
Made it to the finals. It was ridiculous that they could pull that off. So now this script is kind of flipped. The squad with the far more experienced players, with 2 champions on their roster, is the team trying to make it to their first top 3 as a squad.
And here we have it, Minibu's first Neon of the entire tournament. I mean, I'm surprised that they do not want to swap things around. They've only played this, they haven't played it in the entire tournament, of course, this map. And even though in EMEA, at the beginning of the year, this map was so popular, by the end of it, we barely even touched it. And as Mimi was saying, this is such a comfortable ground for Leviathan.
Minibu gets more value with his relay bolt on Neon than anyone else. On this defense, watch how he uses that to go for set re-clears of space with the rest of his team. Team Heretics are super proactive around the map, but Leviathan's comp makes retaking hell. Those harbor walls are so tough to get through, and EMEA teams don't tend to be used to playing against it.
We'll see how this all shakes out. We're ready for map number 1, which means it's time to quit yapping and get to some casting. Let's send it over to your casters for this one. It's Pansy and Steel.
Thank you so much, GB and the desk there. And I think it would be almost a miss to say this map, Vito, is, if you're looking at it from a Heretics perspective, Kafka-esque. It feels like they've walked into hell willingly. These are some of the strongest maps for Leviathan, and they're walking in their eyes wide open. They've got to be happy with this.
This is a very difficult situation for Team Heretics. Obviously, looking at their map pool, they instantly take out Ascent. That's one of Leviathan's best maps, but that means Icebox left in. Team Heretics has not looked pretty on this. They've lost to weaker teams in the regional matchups. Koi to Gentlemates. It's not looking pretty here, and we're not even going to see their best map of Sunset either in the series. They need to come out swinging. They need to show us something different.
And we were discussing that Heretics had looked a little revitalized coming into this with some switch-ups, but to discredit Lev here would be a disservice. They are exceptionally strong on this map. We have to wait and see how it looks for them today. Doritex, second time is always a little bit better. We're getting curious, and he's dead. He's very dead. Aspas happily going to take him away. Sheriff in his hands. Always scary. Again, for Aspas, looking to see him activate here. Another great map for him. And that head-to-head with Miniboo is something going to be on our forefront of our minds. Oh, a little bit of a re-swing.
Okay,
nice
Benji.
from Benji. Aspas,
Okay,
isolate.
Benji.
Relax, Benji. But he's given them a chance, and it's now a 2v2. The spam nearly caught Aspas in the heels. Pause. Slow it down, 40 seconds. They've got time to play with, and Aspas, he's already getting over towards B.
Now he's going to develop a little bit. Aspas down to only 10 HP, so yes, he'll get that spike planted.
30 seconds left.
But it's all on King and his positioning here. How is he going to deal with the rotation from Team Heretics? They're going to move together. Dart's going to come off cooldown before they go for this retake. The HP is there for the side of Team Heretics, but Sheriffs purchased up for Team Leviathan, and only 100 HP on these players. So it's 2 body shots.
Oh, this is important.
Spots one.
Spot made.
Standing ahead.
And it's actually Aspas that was the one that planted the spike, and he makes his way around the world. But no splash damage to be able to get on that spike.
This is sick, though. They don't expect it. The timing's so good for Aspas. If he can just check on the spike, that's a great shot. That's a perfect follow-up for King. Aspas willing to put his body on the line for that trade as well. Lev walk away with the first. They kept composed under what got a very dangerous situation with Benji finding those 3.
It's a big effort from Benji out the gates, but maybe a little bit misplayed from that entire push sequence, starting from that push from Woot with that Dizzy. Not enough follow-up. And what we're going to see from Leviathan this entire game right now is because they have that Viper Harbor just double controller setup, they can continuously put up and down walls, use cascades. That Viper Orb placement towards the back of A site as well is going to be crucial. It's on Team Heretics to make sure that their timing and spacing is pivotal. Benji, first to fall.
Love that. Love that. Punishing any attempt. And I want to see this from Lev. I want to see the dialed-in Lev. I want to see that dangerous Lev. They've been a little hit and miss throughout this so far. Obviously that upset earlier on in the groups. Looking to recover, and they're doing so very well here. Step by step, clearing out the A site. Still a couple of threats there. Sheriff's in hand. That's going to be Miniboo and Rien, so Rien's now noted. Tex takes down Miniboo. Beautifully done for Lev. That's 5 standing. That's dreamy.
Nice flawless round, gonna help that economy situation. But as I look to these two teams, yes, this is going to be an uphill battle for Team Heretics. Right now, they're not getting the best map picks for them. But if you take a look at the form from both teams recently coming into this event, they were teams that were just destroying 2-0 constantly throughout the year. But in the Stage 2 area, including playoffs, they looked like they were dropping maps here and there, both these teams. But to get to this stage, in this Champs tournament right now, they're both the heavy hitters. This is going to be a huge test.
Yeah. Bonus here for Lev, so going to look at the Vandal that's still with Aspas. And bits and bobs around it. So certainly poses enough of a threat, and I feel like we're going to be seeing this A site basically the entire time. A little bit of a lurk from King, kind of keeping control on the other side, so no overconfidence or, I guess, assumptions can be made if you're Heretics. They can't always assume. And then will be punished if they do so. Aspas, again, renowned for his entry work. The guy is genuinely a joy to watch. But for now, it's going to be Tex. Quick on the trigger to find Benji, and a very quick rotation.
It's all on Boo here at the back of the site. Dart on Calm, though. It's going to catch him, force him out of the position. He needs to back away. He needs to value his life. 4 versus 5 is winnable. That spike's going to get planted. He cannot stop it, not with that Cove up.
Nah, nothing to be done about it. It's actually Tex to connect. This bonus looking like pretty much on the money here. They're in the post plant. They've got all the bodies here. And Aspas leading the charge again. Finally put to bed by Boo, but it's Rienz and Boo to try and clear all of this space. They've got util for the post plant. Tex can create a fortress around him by Yellow. And this Outlaw already been spot on. I think a tag there yet. Rienz is barely breathing. Boo's trying to do some work, but it's Tex. Holding this down. Beautiful from Tex. Stunning work. Lev going to be over the moon with converting that bonus.
Nice shooting there, Tex. But an early death from Benji Fishy down at middle. That was the thing that opened up right here. Opens up the rest of the round, the pivot back to B. And with that double controller, Lev is going to be able to do all these audibles, these back and forth, push-pull type of attacks right now. And they have the perfect players for this as well. Tex is very strong at taking those individual duels if you unleash him around middle.
I mean, Tex is 7-1 currently. He's absolutely coming in on point, on form. And this could be another farming opportunity. Light armor everywhere, Sheriffs, yes. They're going to hear this. They should be pretty aware of what's maybe around that corner, so I hope to see a very diligent, cautious approach from Lev without leaving it too late.
Pretty good read on the situation. Boo's got that deep line towards B, jump spotting, till he gets pressed off that issue. Team Heretics is going to keep the stack. They had this on pistol round. Benji got 3 from this location, but Lev is peeling off.
Oh, but I like that. Going to note that at least they're starting to re-clear over towards A.
And that turret up from Tex at that A push. Gonna get that information. Boo can't progress further than this.
And again, yeah, they can't rotate. They're still holding players here. That's nice from Boo, but one's all you're gonna get. A big trade from Aspas, and Tex just hunting. He's out and about looking for any potential victims, but they've somewhat passed by already. Up towards Kitchen as the plant comes in from Azino. Oh, mini Boo, just a shot in the dark.
Fine.
Yeah, straight up blind. The Dizzy Flash going to be in play. Aspas got to be cautious. Forced to fall away. 30 seconds. Suddenly, we're in a little bit of trouble here. And he's got no way out of this safely.
30 seconds left.
But where does the spike go? Looking to alleviate some of the pressure. Tex is unleashed in middle, but there's util to hold him back. But he's trying to be a problem, be a nuisance. They've got bodies on the site still. Aspas down to 57. Trying to take point for his side. It's not clean enough for Tex, but he's turning attention. 10 seconds now. They've got to get a kill, and they do. Aspas creates safety, but there's danger above as Rienz could be the disaster. Waiting to strike, but Aspas, the perfect bodyguard, but time is going to be tight. They got the spike. So close, but not close enough. Mini Boo, all right, big shots, but if anything, the round was the important part.
MasterCard thrifty there because no trust in the teammate to cover, and it didn't even need to get the kill, just needed to drop down out of the sight there. Enough panic in the situation. This is where you need to value the end game, the win con. If you get off the plant, you lose. You need to trust your teammate, and if their teammate can't cover you, it's unlucky. But if you get off, this is what happens.
How can you not have faith in Aspas doing what he, like, out of all the players? You have to be rock solid in your faith. But now, though, we go back to business. It was a thrifty conversion. Heads back in the game here for Lev. Lots of ults to play with, seeing Aspas invest his into this round. 3 players in response, though, coming over from Heretics. We are going to see as well the Harbor ult on top of that. Aspas trying to take space over by screens. Pixel spotted, and maybe a victim found. Not going to get the fight he wants, and Heretics peel away. Okay, Rienz, you got to back yourself in some fights, I guess, but that one...
Swatted like a fly.
King still on the side, though, and Heretics getting closer now, trying to hold the line, though. King delivers 2 bodies, puts him to bed, Con from up on top. Nice little spray, and he gets it done. Lev instantly correct the course. A mistake made, but made up for in the following round.
That was must needed for Leviathan as well to be able to come back into this, losing around this fashion that they did. Being able to come back and win this next round, it actually makes a big difference here. Yes, they got the first death in the round. It's a 4 versus 5, but these positions pushed up with that lockdown pressure as well. It's just forcing all of these players from Team Heretics to run around, not really fight together at all, and it's going to really affect their economic situation right now. Their economy in shambles, a few Sheriffs and a Vandal on the board. They're getting their ultimates online now. It's going to be so hard to be able to use them as well. Lev pumping the brakes, not doing a fast opening here. We've seen them deny the pressure towards A. Now we see them deny info towards B.
But it's all about timing, and maybe Benji gets it this time.
Just holding
Turret's
his off
still
angle,
there.
biding his time. The rotation from Heretics coming back to that A site.
They can gamble stack it. They're on Sheriffs. The big rifle is with Rienz. But beyond that, Sheriffs and hope, pretty much. I don't think he saw what was around that corner, but Benji getting curious down tube again. Silence across the map, hard to read.
It's going to be a very tense situation here as soon as first contact is made.
They get enough of a read on that. Maybe just feeling the pressure, but they're close. They're already so close. Deeper towards Maze. Rienz, again, he is the one to watch here, the one with the rifle. Lev cautiously and carefully taking step by step towards the site. You're looking at Rienz closing in on the gap, but his Kings take away Minibu with the support system.
Big.
Starting to fall. Couldn't get the follow-up, and Lev now should lock this down. This should be security, and it is. There's a reason they are this strong on this map. Heretics yet to fully make an impact here.
Heretics needs to find an impact and fast. They have so many ultimates up on the board, but they're bleeding rounds. And yes, this map skews slightly towards that attack side. It's easy to pick up those rounds, especially when you're push-pulling so easily with the double controllers. But Heretics, they're not hitting their shots. And it sounds really vague, but they're also not fighting together.
Individual, they're isolated. It just feels like they're overwhelmed on these sites.
Whereas if you flip it on the other side, if you look through the lens of Leviathan right now, they're moving together. They're making sure that they're taking the time. As soon as those walls go up, they move together. Yes. And anytime someone's taking a fight, it is traded at the very worst. Except for that other round where Aspas was floating through the air, gets taken out. Everything's been shoulder to shoulder.
Perfect positioning. Yep. Really good fundamentals. Now, the way the veto was going to go, the way the traditional bans go for these two teams, you kind of expected Icebox to be the first port of call.
Yes.
Right? If that's available and you're Lev, you're going to lock that in. That's fair. It's what follows that scares. I think even the desk kind of were taken aback for a second there when we saw Haven coming out. Lotus, sure, but that's not a bad map for Lev. And to go down in this sort of fashion, getting kind of overworked here, getting run over, it's very hard to recover. So this could be a tough test for Heretics. I feel like Lev have an absolute upper hand here.
It's a big test for Heretics. They had to have known that this was going to be the map that's in here. They know that they're not strong on the map. So it's all a matter of how are they going to approach this map? How are they going to deal with it if Lev does pick it up? It needs to be in their understanding, this is likely going to be a loss for us. We have not shown that we're strong on this map, but how are we going to rebound for the next maps to come back? And for a rookie team like this,
it's tricky.
It's very tricky.
And I mean, their form mostly got brought into question when we were talking best of fives, longer series. That was a bit of a different situation, but this, we'll see how it affects them. For now, though, Lev still need to, stay the course. They still need to be able to stick the landing on this. Heretics are no slouches. I can't stress that enough. I think Rienz was a sharp reminder of that in some of the previous series. The guy was monstrous, but hard to get things going. And once again, Lev, traditional start. Looking to approach towards that A site. And really, as it stands, only one dedicated. It's going to be Woot hit.
So important for him to get one and live, or just live. Wait for the team to come in. We were just highlighting how Lev is so shoulder to shoulder, getting those trades. Team Heretics has been so spread apart. It's one thing if they're hitting their shots, but right now, Lev is getting the better of them.
And the tempo feels nice from Lev here. And Rienz, I mean, wants to try and deny easy access, but just a hop, skip, and a jump, and it makes no effect.
This is all a ruse, though.
And they're biting on it, hook, line, and sinker. Did Benji spot anything?
But Benji's got his lockdown. This is going to be very difficult for Lev to be able to do anything. They're coming back to A. Just a fake pump back to B. Get spotted. Come back into A. The site is free. The Viper's Pit covers that plant spot. Mini-Boo.
They're playing them like a fiddle. They are absolutely running rings around them. Free site plant. We're looking at the retake, though. It's kind of always postured for Heretics in that aspect.
I also like the Tex.
Yeah, Tex, though, trying to catch that rotation. Perfect. Big delivery on towards Boo. Can they finish with a flourish? Keep this clean. 5 still alive for Lev. Woot trying to maybe lead the way. Forge them forward.
Big kills.
Back to back, but it's Calm on top. 2 kills. Aspas still holds. And it's all on Woot in a 1v2. Problems left and right, and they're going to know where he is. He might be just dead to rights here. He seems to have lost track of where they are, but Tex never did. Lev are the team on this map in my mind, and we're seeing it round by round.
It's so difficult to deal with the double controller when they have King and Tex constantly on the extremities, up through middle. The push-pull, starting in one side of the map and then shifting to the other. The double fakes, the pumps. It's really catching Team Heretics off guard. And right now, the only real way to get ahead of this is if you had a Jet with an AWP trying to pick them off as they walk around the map. But right now, they're on Neon. They don't have that Jet. It's hard to use some verticality. They're losing these rounds. They can't even get an AWP out.
And I guess, and I feel like I shouldn't say it because it feels fraudulent as a play-by-play caster to say, if anything, we kind of expected it to be this way. I think anyone with a bit of a mind for Valorant looked at the veto and went, well, map 1 is going to probably Levs. It would need a massive change, something of that ilk. But I guess the big question mark is, what is the impact on the individual players? Do they suffer in these moments? Are they going to be kind of down on themselves, struggling then to pick themselves back up? Map 2, map 3 potentially? That's always the question mark. And how much does Lev get rewarded from a map like this? Confident display, feeling like everything's working too, because that's got to feel great. It's not just like the Aspas show, no, it's this lovely approach, the fundamentals wrapped up with a bow, and everything looking just peachy. Now, outside of that, yeah, they could still get a couple of rounds. This map is never over. I think we've learned that in Val. It can always change like that. But as it stands, yet to see that spark from Heretics. And Tex snuffing them out. I mean, Tex has been absolutely on it today. Already, pleasure to witness. Let's see if there's any signs of life. Not really. Tex just farming. There's only Boo to really do some damage here. That's another plant. And they just look so robust in this mini-Boo, just given nothing either. They're just really not allowing it until then.
Getting
First
something.
pick. This isn't bad. At least towards maybe disarming that post plant. But then you still have Com, Hunter's Fury, Shock Darts. Still got Aspas, still got Tex.
Tex 6 HP though. Can easily fall.
But they gotta go. They gotta go now. They're running low on time. And no one's playing to them. There's nothing to be given. You have to take it yourself. And Lev not really feeling intimidated nor threatened by this. First Shock Dart invested.
Second.
And the second. And mini-Boo is barely alive. Oh, that's a shot! But it may be all for nothing. A pixel out of play, sure, Boo could do some damage, but the time is the main factor again, Lev. This is perfect to watch. If anyone wants to learn how to play Icebox, watch this.
It requires a lot of teamwork. It looks so deceptive because you look at it, it looks easy, but everything is so important. The communication about when you want to move from this spot to another spot, what Tex and King see on their respective positions at middle and at B to tell them what they can do, and just moving together on those tempos of when their walls come off cooldown, when the dart comes off cooldown, finding that first pick onto Woot, standing on the top of 410 there, walking up belt. Woot's not played there. That wasn't his first time up there. That was his second time. Oh, it's early Hunter's Fury. Gotta be.
Surely?
He was looking for it.
Kind of.
Decided maybe not. Okay. Maybe not against the Neon who can just sprint away.
Yeah, that's fair. Boo. I mean, he's been supported now with some additional utility from Benji, but
2-3.
See how he deals with it. Yeah, it's the first time we're seeing this like 2-3 split at least.
They're trying to force out a re-aggress from Team Heretics, but instead Team Heretics, they pop this owl drone. They spot one. They try to push and punish. They don't know what's 3 here though.
They're going to find out fast because they already saw the harbor. They saw Mazzino earlier, but they found Com on the kill. So there is at least information there, and they're going to expect to follow up. I like this proactivity, but there's still danger to this.
It was early enough in the round. 50 seconds now for Lev to be able to close out this round. 3 players for Team Heretics on the defense.
Going to take the contact. There should have been a trade on that. How is that disjointed? I thought that was on the absolute money. I thought they had it right, but apparently we were wrong all along. And now a 3v2. Couple of ults though here for Heretics. And they're cautious. You can see it with Lev taking their time. Plant's going to come in. And once again, you look at this post plant. King's got util, as has Tex, and Aspax can just take point. He can just hold this. Ooh, the timing. Okay, 2v2. Maybe. With the lockdown, this could be enough. But do they play forward? Do they fall back? Looks like forward is the answer for now. Tex getting interested, getting hungry, wants the kill. He finds the pointier end of the stick. Benji gives him a lifeline.
round by round is what Team Heretics is looking for here. And we can see them starting to warm up a little bit. That opening pick, it's a good start. Boo is starting to hit some shots as well.
Yeah.
It's not the first one that he's hit. Benji's had a couple of shots as well. But when we look at Team Heretics, who do we look for? We're actually looking at Rians and Woot a lot of the times.
True.
And maybe a little bit muted at the moment, not involved in the game as much. Good opening pick from Mini Boo, but in this 5 versus 4, they need to be converting these rounds way more clean. And right now, talked about Lev, shoulder to shoulder, getting those trades. See it again here, getting into this round. Comes down to 2 versus 2. But Team Heretics, they need to be able to understand this map a little bit better, and obviously it's one of their weakest maps, if not their weakest map outside of their permaban of Ascent. But they need to be able to fall back and make it so much harder for Lev. Early Hunter's Fury this time.
You wanted it before, now you're going to get it, but you can see the effect against the Neon. So hard to try and close that down, just skips away. Rien's got to be cautious, not get kind of spammed out here. He's kind of playing an obstacle course, it looks like. Nowhere feels safe, but once again, they're just putting bodies on this. There's 4 players here now, and they're not falling away from the site. There's 3 of them, back site. This is about to become a death match. And Aspas, I kind of fancy his odds. All goes up though, and a couple more question marks, but Lev keeping control, trying to stay composed under all the chaos. But it's Woot to fall and King to deliver. Mazzino now holding that side, make sure they can't counter push, but it's come from on top to find 2. But Benji again, the one to try and keep them in this. But where do you put your money now? Boo up against Com. Spike is loose, 50 seconds, he plays ahead of it. Com, good intuition, but a better shot from Boo.
Boo, the in-game leader for the team, trying to show the rest of the team, this is what's up. Follow me into battle, and I'm going to take you to the promised land. But I like how Team Heretics is doing the defense. And we see how good Lev is good running in together. We see it from the perspective of Team Heretics right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's moving together. They're swinging 2,
Triple
3
swing,
at the same time, trying to get those trade outs. But what Team Heretics did better this round than the previous round is they're at the back of the site. They have their Viper wall isolating Lev. They put that Neon wall up. They're moving together. So step by step, getting better for Heretics, still trailing by 2.
Oh,
so gutsy. But you need this.
No, okay, he backs away. I was wondering if he was feeling really audacious, but it's Benji. This is an early test he hasn't had before. Tex this time beats his opposing number. So that's a massive pick at 1 minute 18. That's so early in the round.
And that's all the Sentinel abilities down as well. So that means that mid lurks are going to be very strong.
Oh, they're on the menu. Going to have the lockdown as well towards A.
This might be counterproductive. That Hunter's Fury setup for Rians, he knows he could get some collateral damage here as soon as that spike gets tapped. But Heretics was basically off of the site, so Lev, they go and they get that plant.
There's Hunter's Fury.
Gets stalled out.
Yeah, and now a pre-take towards the site. This is nice, really well timed.
And he picks him off.
That's perfect from Rians. And I've got to say, credit to Woot and Miniboo for hitting that as the second that the Hunter's Fury came down. They're starting to get the tempo of this game. Finger on the pulse here, but the dangerous 3 still stand. Aspas, Tex, and King. Miniboo getting curious. Oh, big punish. Good trade as well. Great spacing. But it is Aspas. And he always deserves a moment of respect here. Spike is left out of hand. Is there a way to divide? Oh, and he's starting to conquer! 10 seconds, pops the ult, a quick turn, he knows where he is. 7 seconds to play with. What does Boo do? He clutched before, and he's done it again!
Boo is doing incredible work for Team Heretics, keeping them alive. Multiple engagements in these clutches, back to back as well. He is pivotal for these guys. He's the in-game leader, and he's not known for being able to post up these huge numbers or get these huge rounds.
That's impact kills,
That is very high impact kills.
And give me the odds on that 1v1. And Aspas up against Boo 1v1 to clutch it out. Credit where it's due. This is 3 consecutive rounds. Maybe there is life in Heretics yet. You've got to say, Lev still lead by a good margin. They've shown a very good display, but there are answers being made by Heretics. They're getting that read on the game.
They're getting more confident.
Close as it may. Yes, and you can see it here. This time it's Benji winning that fight. Takes away Tex, and that was the trade out from the last round that went in Lev's favor. And now they've got control here. They have this A-site control finally.
I believe it was a little bit of a spam duel that Benji got the better. A killjoy diff at middle there. Boo. Valuing his life, sees this orb.
Oh,
and a spam kill for him.
That's so nice. Just catching a second of King. He's trying to get towards yellow, but the plant's going to be coming through. Can he deny it? That's actually going to sting a little on Com there. Does get away. Aspas gets detained. Woot's on the way. Boo's going to find him, and now suddenly they're down to 2. Com and Mazzino suddenly with a wake-up call. This game ain't so easy. And Mini Boo, I feel like he's kind of overcooked that a little bit, but luckily for him, it's only going to be Com in a 1v5. The defuse is happening, and Mini Boo's toying with his dinner. Com tries to stand, but will fall. And now we have a game on our hands. It got closer. Heretics woke up, and maybe there is more to be said about this one. A 5-7 scoreline is not out of the realms of reality here, Josh, but we still put our faith towards what we know, which should be Lev, but who knows how this one goes. Don't go anywhere.
Red Bull gives you wings.
To 7. Now, the way this started, I thought this would be a clean map 1, Josh. I thought, you know what? Hey, it's going the way we thought. Fair play. And that's when we're talking about the best of 3. Okay, going the distance, but Heretics woke up. They closed out 4 rounds, back-to-back at the end there. Does this put some faith in you, or is it still sitting favorably towards Lev?
It's a little bit up in the air. It's still favored slightly towards Lev. This pistol round's going to be huge. Remember, Lev got the first 3 rounds, including that bonus round. They lost to a Thrifty, but instantly answer back and collect 8-1. But Team Heretics comes back with 4 in a row, led by the in-game leader, Boo. He is the one that we're looking to this match, but we don't expect him. If he buys enough time for Woot to come back online, then we're going to see a game on our hands. Lev, they still have the control of the ship. They just need to be able to close this out a little bit.
Looking at the Sheriffs. Tex and Aspas going for that. Everyone else on Ghosts and Classics pretty much. And Heretics on the attack. And we look at Woot to try and be an instigator here. Quite quiet on the first half, but this half is, it needs a lot of him to be involved. Obviously with Rienz as well, but still, his value certainly increases here. And a look towards B-Long, but the walk back towards A. Heretics, slow and steady as they approach the A side.
Lev spread apart, 2-1-2 setup, only 2 to defend us. A site, and Com would be the first point of contact here at Maze, but Rienz gonna pop that drone, follow it in. There's no Viper wall here. An orb still remaining for Boo. He pops this now. Looks like they're trying to get that spike planted on that wingman.
And Com is completely outdone.
3.
Heretics, very clean there actually. I thought they might have been a little bit dissuaded by the harbor wall coming through, but no, very well calculated on the way in. And now down to Aspas and King. They were the ones that were split quite far away. And Heretics not moving away from the site. Hard for any of the util to really force them away anyway. I don't think Aspas saw the pixels crossing through for Mini Boo. This is so difficult. It's just going to need belting shots, really, and no one's giving him a fight. First one does go down, that's Mini Boo, but you're right, time is of the essence. Spots out Boo, but they don't know about the other 3. This is so uphill, so arduous to try and turn around. Great work from Heretics, Josh. This was very well-made plans.
Round by round, Team Heretics has been crawling it back. And Lev, not sure if they use a timeout yet this game. They still should have 2 available if this game starts getting a little bit messy, a little bit scary for them. They came into this, one of their stronger maps, Ascent and Icebox being the top two, trying to come in here, clean this, just take it just by storm.
Yeah.
But Team Heretics putting up a fight. Lev probably not prepared for this at the moment. If Heretics builds that confidence, if they're able to steal this map away,
that
it's going to be
changes things.
oof.
Yeah, that suddenly becomes a whole new script gets written. As it stands, though, we're going to see the Sheriffs out. There's 3 in the hands of Lev, one with Aspas, one with Tex, and one with Mazzino.
Scary.
They've gone for a stack, all in, 5. Heretics should go through their protocol list. You've got to hope. That should be 2 spotted. Wonder how much more gets revealed in the same moment. And with no pressure over towards B, you're going to be adding question marks to what's around that corner.
They saw multiple players there, including Aspas. Benji starts his walk, securing the close space for his team, but I mean, the fast rotation, the pivot, mini boost sliding around the map. It's going to be an orb and a wingman plant here. That's where the Viper wall is. It's going to protect them. Calm. You're going to try to deny that plant? It's so difficult. You have to wait and play the retake. Still, King sits back, waits to see if it's a fake or not. Team Heretics actually didn't go for that plant. They still have that wingman, but now there's 4 players for Lev. This could get scary.
And I hate seeing it get to this 30 seconds. I mean, 30 seconds isn't so bad, but there is elements of danger. If the spike plant gets denied, if something goes a little topsy-turvy, it doesn't. As it stands, Com does go down. Goes to the hands of Benji's utility. Split at least 1 towards CT there. And they're in a very comfortable post plant. Looking at any utility to maybe take that out of position. Maybe Mazzino can invest a little, maybe Tex, but other than that, it is the weapons in hand, and Heretics drastically outgunning them here in this round. So, should be a formality, but Tex has something to say about the matter, as does Aspas. Can they dismantle the 2 players on the side? But you gotta get going here. You gotta get moving. Aspas, 10 HP, and he's still firing. Boo, though, it's where the buck stops with his side. He doesn't let him pass. Boo has been on the money.
Last half, Lev was able to secure and convert that bonus round. Now it's on Team Heretics to be able to do the same back to Lev and take the lead for the first time into this game. Right here, pushing up Team Heretics, getting in front of that harbor wall. They must have thought that they were going to get split apart there, so they wanted to play in front of that harbor wall to make sure that they play together. But the harbor wall was actually behind them. They didn't have to go for that push, and it got a little bit scrappy. It came down to the wire there a little bit.
Speaking of scrappy, bonus. 3 rifles, 1 SMG and 1 Sheriff. 1 away from Woot's though, so that could be something they aim for here. Let's look at the early intent from Heretics. 3-2 split, but this time Aspas is on guard duty at B. They try and walk this.
Dangerous position to be
in. The gun in the way, he couldn't see it particularly clearly. Does go down to Boo's. Had his number throughout this game in a couple of clutches, couple of ends of rounds. Boo has been the big man. Now with an early pick, they can pause here. Still about a minute to play with.
Such high-risk play coming in from Lev right now. First Aspas, he goes down. Tex also stands tall.
Got to back yourself, I guess, but this is dangerous. And that owl drone could be actually dealt with. Perfect. The Dizzy does find him. Time to fall off. He actually tries to go back in, and the timing's just perfect.
Spacing.
And the patience pays. Oh, he even gets a second. Nice work from Tex to keep calm there. But Heretics righting the ship. Until then, Mazzino makes his stand on the site. Death from above with King. And suddenly, Benji in a 1v2 with 30 seconds. And I told you once before about this guy, and I'll tell you it again. If he stands, there's always a chance. But does he predict Mazzino's reposition?
Benji thinks he's still back sight, but took the rope across silently. No idea.
When does he consider it? When does he's got to think about it at some point. The timing is everything. 13 seconds. Mazzino's reposition was heaven sent.
Team Heretics falter. They had that opening pick on Aspas over at B. And we've seen this from Aspas. It's such a big risk to take in a moment like this where you play that 50-50 angle. You're against the bonus round here as well. Losing that round would have been huge. Just a really bad situation to be put in. But right now, Team Heretics, surely they lose the round, but that was the bonus. They're able to do a full purchase here, and they're keeping Lev really low on economy. What is Lev going to do to rebound from this? 4 Sheriffs and a Vandal coming into this next round here. And this is not the situation you want to be in, but still, with confidence, pushing up, trying to take space.
Sheriff.
Yep.
Now that Vandal is on the way. It's in the back lines. Kind of set into play by Mazzino. Did Benji hear any more? Maybe an additional step, who knows? But he knows his presence, and he knows that they've now got access at least to the flank. Now, is there a stack here? Benji making decent progress. Be able to hold this. Maybe wait to hear for rotations.
Lev.
Hello.
Oh.
He's going to hear that.
Benji hears everything.
Yeah, Babu's found his man. And now with the Killjoy going down, he's got free reign. Aspas aware, but he still dies. And now Benji can be a nuisance. He goes down. He could have played his life a little more there, cost them some time. But no, the plant's going to be coming in for Heretics. And now they can sit in the deeper post plant.
Boo still with the molly here for this post plant.
Com, he's got the rifle.
No cove, just the cascade.
Very difficult for them to get this done. And the ult going to come back through that to secure at least to the first attempt. There's no half achieved here, of course, they know that. So time going to run low. Now, you can see the layering of utility. They have to respect the timing, and they're trying to maybe disrupt that back line, and Miniboo's having none of it. It's clean work in the end from Heretics. 3 alive, and they handle the threats well.
Team Heretics again in the situation, 1 round win from taking the lead in this game. And we talk about it, how we come into this game. Lev, one of their better maps. Team Heretics, they're floating this. They have to. Do we expect this? Not at all. It's catching everyone by surprise, and now everyone's starting to heat up. Still, Woot a little bit quiet on the board, but Boo again, just opening this game up.
Papa here? Me, Papa.
And Mini Boo. Getting his own voice lines, I guess.
Apparently so. Lev, here's a change. Aspas, the timing. He didn't get seen. They have no idea, but it doesn't seem...
They know.
Now, yeah, they absolutely... You're right. Oh, Rien's the one to punish. And left looking almost silly here. And it's bizarre to me. It's not something we know that... We know that Heretics don't lean towards this map. We know that Lev have had this in their map pool towards the top end. But right here, right now, we are seeing Heretics poised to take the lead. We've questioned the form of Leviathan throughout this, I guess, tournament to an extent. We questioned Heretics towards the end of the online portion, qualifying to this, looking in slump potentially. But now, as it stands, they're in form. But still, 8 apiece. Tech's in the right place.
It's a good gamble read from Lev. They have that crossfire, but Tech's re-aggressing because they have the numbers. This is going to be a huge play or a big blunder.
Feast or famine moment for Tex, and it's famine. Woot finds him instantly. There was a chance there if things didn't go his way, and they don't. Mazzino tries to make something out of nothing, but Heretics taking the lead. Deep in what feels like enemy territory, they are up 9-8.
Lev surely needs to start using their timeouts at this stage in the game. They have to. They're letting this slip at the moment here. So many confident fights and so much aggression. And I wonder if that re-aggression from Tex in that situation, they had that gamble stack towards B. If he sits back yellow, he's got 2 other teammates to set him up, and they can deal with this attack. But instead, he presses forwards. His teammates can't trade him. Once he goes down, it's a 5-on-2. It goes from a situation where maybe you're only winning it 20% of the time, all the way down to like 5% of the time. So Lev, they need to make individually better decisions. They need to find their form again. Those first 9 rounds of that first half probably put them in a false sense of security, feeling like they could get away with stealing candy from a baby. But right now, the police are here and they're not letting it happen.
The analogy was questionable, Josh.
Sorry,
I was going to let you get away with it, but nah. I mean, we're still at a timeout. If you'd done it mid-game, I'd probably leave you with that. But yeah, 9-8. And the timeout comes in. We look at the economy as well. This is going to be, if anything, probably just Sheriffs and not much more. A couple of ults. Actually, tell a lie. They've got 3 of their ults already there, and 1 off from Aspas and 1 from Tech. So actually, big snowball round on the horizon for them here, potentially, if they can work towards that. On the other side, of course, Mini Boo sitting on his, Boo 1 off from his. I mean, we're going to have one of those sort of rounds pretty soon, where everyone seems to have it. So, 10 potentially for Heretics. And that's when I start really paying attention. Lev might have to sit back and suffer in this one. Just that Guardian. In the hands of Aspas.
A drone actually got cancelled because Rian's got shot in the toe. A little bit of 19 damage or so. Now, Team Heretics wait for that Viper Wall to come back up so they can walk across here. Hopefully not get spammed in the process. Benji just holding this A space.
Dizzy goes down as well, so Aspas still gets to hold the line. Sees something. Oh! He's so good! But one pick's not enough in this round, but taking away Wu is pretty important. It makes the plant more difficult. They have to put bodies behind it, and now we've got numbers leaning back towards B. Aspas on patrol, on duty. Another target, but no confirmed push off the back. And King, slipping back up to yellow, is lovely. That keeps safety here.
Benji starting his A-walk right now. Harbor Wall about to drop over towards B, but already the repositioning from Team Heretics. It's just Boo here, trying to keep pressure, trying to keep the Lev players. But it's already a retake for Tex.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at Mazzino's timing. If he played down tube there, potentially, there is still going to be the utility in the way, though, so he's not going to get the freedom.
Hunter's Fury set up as well, in position.
For Tex.
For this tap.
He's so scary with this Sheriff, though, but doesn't get the shot he needed. Benji going to create at least security on the site to try and facilitate the plant. Com trying to deny by just buying time with his ult coming in. Lockdown going to come through as well, trying to create some sort of safety. But Heretics looking like they're about to secure the round here. It's forced a lot of utility. It forced a lot out from them. That's fair. And maybe it's not over yet. But a 2v4 with Sheriffs. Plan against you, they're desperate to get Boo down, but he's such a nuisance. Oh, he's being such a pain. Really well done again by Boo. Credit here, just playing his life well, costing them time and potential towards the site. And the threat's been managed, and Heretics making it up to 10.
And Lev off the back of a timeout, unable to get anything done there. A lot of investment as well. That's two ultimates, Harbor and Sova, both not getting the value that they want from this. And again, Team Heretics is in the lead, finding these openings, really good pacing, understanding exactly when they need to activate and deactivate. Benji on the timing at A this round. He's done it already at middle once. And Team Heretics staying a step ahead. Lev just too split up on their defense, not fighting together. That is the Blade Storm popped for Aspas. He is over towards B, and it's the same opening setup for Lev every round. And Team Heretics, they've been taking this A space. They've been holding the pushes at middle and B, waiting for Lev to get in the faces. Lev hasn't really pushed through all the way yet this game, but their defense holds. We talked about them on attack, shoulder to shoulder, 2-3-man swinging things together, getting those trades, but right now, falling one by one.
And it looked like Heretics were trying to maybe predict or expect some aggression off the back of that ult here, especially when you're looking at where Benji was and to add to that Boo as well, but ooh, turret stays up.
Mazzino always positioned towards this boiler angle to deny that Molly from taking out the turret, denies those late lurks from Benji or from Boo.
That's lovely. I think they're getting a good read of the approach now.
It's going to be tough. As soon as this Harbor Wall goes down, that's going to be the Viper Wall to be recycled in. But already
We're trying to disrespect that, at least with the Dizzy. You see the stuns coming in. They've got the site. Yeah, we're going to have the Hunter's Fury coming on towards this as well. Kong going to just swing on in, but Heretics holding this site well. Mazzino has to respect the ult at the very least, but there's 3 players to try and handle, and they're not getting what they need. King and Aspas. Ult with Aspas. Rifle with King. But the ult on the site makes it hard to connect for Aspas. He doesn't get fair fights. Normally, he doesn't need them. Right now, he's being given nothing. They're not playing to his song by any means. And Heretics might have just teed up 11 here. Aspas another step closer, but a victim found, but a good trade. Boo, keeping those numbers favorable, and King going to be forced back to heal as 11 rounds is going to be carved to the board here. And I think a lot of us doubted this map, and rightly so. Off of statistics, off of history, out of anything we know about this. But as it stands, when you get to champs, that all goes out the window, apparently. It is 11 for Heretics, up against Lev on Icebox.
Another timeout is available if Lev needs it. And at some point, they need to take it, because right now, nothing is connecting. Team Heretics, Boo, leading by example on that defense, keeping them in the game, winning some clutches. Now on the attack side, calling perfectly the tempo, the pacing to open up the round, where they go in their mid-rounds, the audibles that he's calling.
It's been a great game of calling, at least from Boo, to say the least as well. Considering how much impact he's having fragging-wise as well, it's very impressive. And now we're going to see Lev clutching at straws, struggling to get a grip on this game.
Initial pressure from Team Heretics. They broke that Killjoy turret finally. Rien's with the drone. This is going to force this fight. Lev, do they push through with it or do they back off as soon as they get spotted here? Woot.
Oh, they're so ready! They're ready for the aggression last round. They're ready for it again. The only thing that went their way was King finding Boo. That's it. But the site falling into the hands of Heretics. Mini Boo taking so much space here, making sure that plant will be secure.
Spike planted.
Cove still available for this defuse. So much ability for Team Heretics right now. And here comes the thrash. Oh, Aspa slips by.
I mean, he just didn't get the impact that he wanted, but maybe a chance made here. 2v2, and Mazzino hungry for the kill, leaving Rienz in a 1v2. Diffuse already started, he's been dealt with. Finally, Lev finds stability, pushing up to 9. But they are the ones trailing here.
A little sign of complacency from Team Heretics in this post plant.